shine, I glow. This and other things that you might see out in the woods that may give away a Bigfoot. It's coming up next on Dirt Road Bigfoot. All right, how y'all doing tonight? Welcome back to Dirt Road Bigfoot, guys. We're going to try to have us a discussion tonight. You know, we've done one about a couple, 2 or 3, maybe a month ago, about footsteps in the woods. And I find this kind of stuff interesting, what happens and all that. And the subject tonight is going to be eye shine and eye glow and possible some other things because, you know, only so much can be said about it. But I got a good crew with me tonight that's going to help us talk about this. But for our first guy to come on, and by the way, if you want to be part of the show, just say so. I will post up a link and you come right on here and help us discuss this. We welcome your opinions and doesn't bother us at all. And before I get to bringing on everybody, I want to say good evening to Bud and Angie. How are y'all doing tonight? Mr. Trackway, I hope Mrs. Trackway is doing well. Outlaw Curtis, how are you doing tonight, buddy? And there's one of our favorite Blue Eyes, Miss Blue Eyed Northern. How you doing? And of course, there he is. I'll talk to him in just a few. Yeah, let's see. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. I'm glad to see that, man. It's a good community. I really feel like I'm part of a great community. Thomas Topman, how are you doing tonight, buddy? Glad to see you again. Here from Ontario. All right, and there's my football buddy, Mr. Van Edwards. Hey, buddy, roll tight. It's coming up soon. You know it, buddy. All right, let's go ahead and get some other folks on here. Y'all, here we go again. Here's Mr. Richard as my co-host, and let's see how he's doing tonight. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing outstanding, but I hope to get better later.
It can only get worse from here.
It's all downhill from here.
All right. Well, how's Rascal doing
He
before
is
we get
doing
on?
good. He's actually sitting right here in my lap, you
Yeah.
know, and
He's,
he's recovering. He's doing much better. I think he's got some psychological issues to work through, but physically
yeah.
he's doing great. Physically he's doing really well. So
Yeah. And those that don't know, he was attacked by a rock waller, wasn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah,
Shook
it
him like
was.
a rag doll.
It was a vicious attack. It was really bad. I was really concerned. But other than that, I mean, he's doing some things different that he didn't do before. He's just acting different. So I think he's got some PTSD from it or something. I don't know. Maybe have to get him some puppy Prozac. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Before we get the rest of them on, and it's good to hear. I'm glad to see Rascal's doing so well.
Yeah.
Oh, let me say hi to Miss Kimberly Harmon. That's another football fan of ours. I love her to death. I don't get to catch her often, but when I do, and I'm gonna say this, Trackway. Anybody ever getting sick from poison ivy, poison oak? I've had it in my system, and I've never gotten sick off of poison ivy. Poison oak, if it's in your system, and I'm just gonna tell everybody what I would recommend that you do. If you know what English plantain is, it grows in your yard. You kill it. A lot of people do consider it a weed. It's a very medicinal plant. It detoxifies the urusol oils that are found in the poison ivy and poison oak. So if you've got it internally, you need to take it, crush it up, and boil it in some water and drink it. Now, not the whole leaves now, just the tea of it, and it'll kill it. Okay, so there you go on that. Just a little FYI. All right, our next guy coming up that's going to help us talk about the subject tonight is you know him, you all know him, Mr. Old Bear. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Glad to see you guys.
Yeah, coming live from the big truck.
Yeah, good to see you, old bear.
It's good seeing you, Richard.
All right, our next guest coming on tonight. I asked him to come on because this is he's probably seen more eyeshine than any of us all together. Mr. Flatrock, how you doing tonight, bud?
Doing good, doing good.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Richard. How's it going, Bear?
It's going pretty good, buddy. I'm glad to see you.
Yes, sir.
Tilt your camera down just a little bit, Bear.
I can't tip it down much more. That's it.
Well,
That's all I
well,
got.
what was
They
that?
get you.
What was that character back in the '70s? We used to draw it where it was a line and then a head with just the eyes. Like that's what you look like, old bear. That's all we see is the nose up. Reminds me of that character we used to draw when we were kids.
Peeking over the fence.
Yeah. Hey, what is that guy on Tool Time? What's his name?
Yeah. The neighbor.
The neighbor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Tim, you know. We're going to get you some phone books to set on, sitting in that thing. Yep. And there's Mr. Patrick. How you doing tonight, Patrick? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Ice Bunny is my wife. She is the better half and the better hunting for Bigfoot stuff that I've ever seen. So, Kilroy. Yeah, go ahead and stay that way, Bear. All
Yeah,
right.
that's what it was. He's got it. I think that's what it was. Kilroy.
Now the guy, yeah, you're talking about Kilroy. The one I'm talking about on Tool Time, I cannot think of it. Wilson.
Yep. Yeah, Wilson.
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 Yeah.
Yep, that's him. All right, guys, we're gonna get started on this topic tonight. Eye shine. How many people here have actually seen eye shine? And I'm talking to the chat room also. Guys, if you've seen eye shine, you got an opinion about it. I'd love to hear about it. I really do. I've got my own opinion, and there is no wrong opinion if you ask me. But I'd like to hear about it. But anyways, how you doing, Miss Joanne? Good to see you, hon. Flat Rock, go ahead. I seen you had your finger up.
No, I was just saying, you asked who all seen Einstein. I raised my hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was waving at people saying hi to me because for some reason on here I cannot chat from the computer as a
Right.
guest. I'd have to pick up my phone and chat. So I'm just waving at the people saying hi to me. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I do have my own opinions, and and I think they're reasonable. I really do, but doesn't mean I have. I said, man, many more times than I can. Man, you ain't seen no one. I said, I'll tell you what. If you have, there you go. Right? Let me do this because I said I would do it. So uh, there we go. There's the link, guys. If y'all want to come on and help us out, like I said, you're more than welcome. We're not experts.
nope, no experts here.
Nope.
We're just I'm a retard with a theory.
I'm right along with you, Richard.
All right, well, saying that, let's just go with Richard first, and we'll go to Old Bear, and then we'll go to Flat Rock and get your opinion on what eye shine. I'm gonna put it this way: the subject has come up of eye shine versus eye glow. Okay, and I do have, to me, in my opinion, eye shine is something that you see that is reflective,
Right.
and
Hmm.
uh, eye glow means that you can turn it on, if you ask me. So, like if you're walking in the woods or it's walking in the woods and it gets next to a tree and it's having this quote eye glow, then it should show some kind of light on the side of that tree or on his hand or whatever you want to call it, wherever it's standing. It should be illuminating things around it, is what I'm trying to get at. So I don't see where eye glow per se is the same thing as
Right.
eye shine.
Right.
So
Mhm.
what's your opinion on it, Frank? Let's see, Frank. Who in the world is on here, Frank? I might hurt somebody.
You must like my co-host better than me on my other show.
might do.
That's
Go
that's
ahead,
easy to
Richard.
do. Frank's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between eye shine and self illumination. I have never experienced any self illumination. I have experienced eye shine. A lot of animals have eye shine. A lot. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We see it. Raccoons climbing trees or any kind of animal. Even spiders in Florida when we're going through the woods at night and we have a ton of spiders. They actually give off eye shine. See what I'm saying? I
really.
see it. I see it all the time at work. We used to do this trick when we were kids. If you hold your flashlight against your forehead and point it down at the ground, you'll see all the spiders that are walking through the ground. You know what I mean? So different things give off a eye shine. I haven't seen self illuminating, but I have caught eye shine on camera. I didn't see it at the moment, but when I go back and review and stuff like that, um, there was clearly eye shine in the film that we had to pause it and zoom in, and sure enough, outside of our range, um, we've caught eye shine. Um, the thing is with eye shine is it's one of those things that you really have to investigate it. If you see it live and you're looking at it and you're like, there's eye shine right there. I personally, and I recommend this to a lot of people, is start walking towards it. It's going to do something. It's going to duck down, or it's going to move to the right.
Mhm.
It's going to move to the. It's going to do something. It's not just going to sit there and wait for you to walk up on it. And when you do that, you'll be able to help you eliminate what it is or is not. You know what I mean? By making it move. See what I'm saying?
Hmm. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had totally. I never did know about spiders having eye shine. I'll tell
Oh
you
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we done a film one night with old Bear down there at Hosak's Cave, and I showed it. And it looked like it had red eyes. Uh, Now, was it eye shine? Could it have been a possum, a raccoon, or something like that? Yeah, absolutely, it could have. But anyways, you're going to catch some eye shine, especially when I'm using a green thermal. And yeah, I got red on there. That's kind of odd. But anyways, all right, Bear, what do you think about the eye shine?
Well, I have seen eye shine, multiple occasions, but it's always because you got a flashlight on or something, or the moon's full or something like that, and the light's hitting their eyes. Um, the eye glow. The only thing I can remember one time seeing red eyes glowing, and that was once. But it could have been the amount of moonlight that was on, or something of that nature, that caused it to glow by itself. So no, I've seen eye shine multiple times, being out at night. You know, and but the eye glow is one possible time. That's all I know. It's just one possible time.
Hmm. I still don't understand the eye glow part. I really don't. And I'll say my piece
Hmm.
here in just a minute. Go ahead, Flat Rock.
Well, I can't tell you what you said earlier that I have a lot of experience in it. I mean, I have seen eye shine. I've had my numerous occasions where I shine. I was telling you about one last night when my friend Tyler was here, just here to check things out before they came out here and camped out. Yeah, we come in here, done our talking. He had to leave out there on my porch. And as he started walking to his truck, I called him back and I said, Tyler, is that eye shine right there looking at us? And he come up on that 3-step porch and he said, yeah, it sure looks like. I said, go get your camera out of your truck. So he started walking toward to get his camera, and these two sets of eyes started following him through the damn woods, going through, falling into the truck. He gets there and gets his camera. I don't know why he didn't turn his camera on right then, put it right on this thing. he has to walk back toward me. This thing's falling right back. And right before he got to me, these eye shines backed up into the woods. And the story on that. The only time I've heard of eye glow, the only time, I was watching a video that MK was doing. A lot of you know about this video. It's about the Sasquatches messing with a deer down in the water. You know, I guess trying to drown this deer. Well, it didn't do it, but MK had brought up, about eye glow on one of these creatures that was in that water drowning that deer. I don't believe it was eye glow. I believe deer that squatch was in a dark area of the creek, down in the water, and the sun beaming down, caught his eye just as that camera panned on it and caught that little bit of eye shine. MK kind of called it eye glow. I don't think he accepts that opinion, but he did call it that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time I've ever heard of eye glow.
Yeah. This is my opinion, and strictly my opinion. And I don't care. Everybody else can have their opinions. It does not bother me. Uh, I've got a dog in here. You got a dog right there where I seen Boo, and you got Rascal. If you look at it, they're big round eyes. If they're looking most of the time, if they're looking dead at you, especially mine, uh, you don't see no white in its eyes. And Richard will tell you, Bear will tell you, Flat Rock will tell you, for the last better part of a year, whenever I hear of a sighting that they actually see the facial features of a Bigfoot, what's one of the first questions I ask, Bear?
What eyes look like?
Yeah,
No, were there white in the eyes?
Whatever. I
yeah.
know.
That was my main kick because it's something I wanted to see what's going on. Uh, but if there's no white in the eyes, I'm not saying there ain't none, but there's none in my dogs. There's until your dog actually cuts its eyes. If you got a dog sitting there beside you and you're sitting there talking, it's acting like it's not paying you no attention. It'll cut its eyes or cut it away, especially when it's in trouble, and you'll see some white in its eyes. And those large eyes cover
Hmm.
most of the gap in an animal. And of course, y'all all know I refer to Bigfoot as an animal, animalistic, whatever you want to call it. I feel like their size and them being nocturnal, that their pupils or their eyes have to be bigger to be able to see more at night. So their eyes are more capable of gathering available light, even when it might be pitch dark to us. I think they have that capability in their eyes. Now, do they have cat eyes? I don't know. Nobody's ever said they can actually see the closeness of their eyes like they had slits like a cat. So there I'm a little bit kind of confused about, but I still believe, yeah, Patrick, I'm like you. I think they have a reflective lens, uh, but they're how can I put it? They're so sensitive to any kind of light. So if you've got light coming from a house, a fire, moonlight, or just starlight, I feel like they have the capability of having reflection. And I'm gonna tell you a story. Uh, I've told Bear this story several times. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too, Blue Eyes. Uh, she is not a psychic, I don't think. She was a spiritualist. She was one of the first interviews I ever done, and it wasn't even on a Bigfoot channel. And we got to talking, and I asked her, does being a spiritualist have anything to do with Bigfoot? And she said, no, it don't. And she got to, all right, I'm gonna read what Van's got here in just a second. So anyway, she was talking about these Bigfoots on her property, and there was one that would come up and look in her window all the time. You know, and I asked her, I said, "Is it a eye producing like an eye glow, or is it something that's reflective?" And she said, "I've seen it up close. It's reflective." So uh, that's why I gather my opinion about the eye shine itself. Let me see what Van's got here. Eye shine, as far as my experience, was caught when something hides in my spotlight. Now, one time I saw some eyes without shining on them. I don't recall mine, so it could be that. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine you have out there hunting. I wish you could come on, man. I really do. But anyways, uh, do you have another take on it, Richard?
Well, yeah. It, it, two points I want to make is a lot of times when we hear about people talking about self illuminating, um, to this date, all of us has been in this field for quite some time. I've been a field researcher for a long time. Um, have never experienced it, never seen it. And when we talk to these people, they'll say, "Well, I wasn't using a flashlight. I didn't have any lights. It was blah blah blah." But these are self-illuminating. But yet there's never video of it. I've never to this day seen a video of something walking through the woods with self-illuminating eyes. See what I'm saying? So I can't confirm when I'm talking to these people, did they really not have a flashlight on? Did they really not? Was it not a full moon, or was it a clear sky with lots of stars and stuff like that? I don't know. I have to go by what they tell me. You know what I mean? But I yet have seen anything, not a video or a picture anywhere in 20 years that shows something walking through the woods with self illuminating. Now, we do see pictures or videos and stuff like that of eye shine. I've seen it with a flashlight. I think it is reflective. So I'm more leaning towards there's an eye shine, not necessarily self illuminating glow. Um, but what I can tell people is a year and a half ago, I interviewed Todd Neese. Todd Neese had an amazing explanation on why people may see eye glow. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a natural thing. It's not anything supernatural or metaphysical or anything like that. He explains it really well, and he explains it in a manner where it makes you understand why people lean towards that direction. But he shows that it does have a natural cause where the eyes are large, the lens and the cones in the eyes are possibly a lot larger than ours, and
Yeah.
it's collecting information. If there is eye glow, it's not a beam of light, it's just a glowing inside the eyes, which just could be accumulation of absorption. See what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
at night it's releasing this to to see or whatever. But where the science comes in, and I've talked to different people in the past, um, if you have self-illuminating eyes, that makes seeing more difficult. See what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It just I mean, because your your eyes are putting something out. See what I'm saying? Where the
Hmm.
eyes are made to absorb what's coming in to form a picture so you can see what you're looking at. Like even with night vision stuff, it's absorbing information. See what I'm saying? Not extruding information. So I lean more towards it being reflective. I think, like I said, in most cases, people are seeing this with a flashlight or, like Old Bear brought up, it's a full moon. Even when we use night vision to enhance our vision at night, a full moon is really helpful. I mean, it really helps our
Oh yeah.
equipment a lot.
It
Even a
helps
half moon.
our night vision cameras that we've got.
Even if I don't have a moon at all, but I have a clear sky with a billion stars, it helps my
Hmm.
night vision a lot. A lot.
Hmm. All right, Bear.
Well, like I said earlier, the only time that I thought that it was eye glow, I was in a dense underneath a dense canopy. It was August, so all the leaves are on. All the underbrush was there, and this Bigfoot walks out, and it, even with that dense canopy, there was still moonlight coming down and hitting the ground because I could see to walk without having to use night vision or a
Hmm.
flashlight. So, I mean, I have to agree with Richard. It's there was some light getting to that creature's eyes. There wasn't beams of light coming out of its eyes. So it to me, I would have to say that it was eye glow. It was just reflecting the light that was coming through the canopy. Um, but yeah, that was when I first saw it. I looked at it. I'm like, well, where the heck did those red things come from? You know, you couldn't. It was in the dark. It was behind a tree, a large oak tree,
Mhm.
and it was looking at me. Uh, and I could see the red eyes. I couldn't see anything else of the creature. And I had a light. I could have turned it on, but I didn't. I let it walk out. And when it walked out from behind a tree to walk in front of me, as soon as I turned the headlight I had on, the eye shine,
Mhm.
the eye glow or eye shine or whatever you want to call it, disappeared. So and its eyes were black. That reflective material like on white-tailed deer.
Yep. I also think that the angle of which your light is shines will also create the eye shine, because I'll give you a prime example. Me and another person was out in the woods, and long story short,
Mm-hmm.
we got the crap scared out of us by a couple owls. But we went in to investigate what that noise was, and it ended up being two owls. Well, it's probably about maybe 15 feet up in a tree. It was two owls. And this is
Mm-hmm.
late, 12 o'clock at night. It's pitch black. We're shining our flashlights on the owls, and there's no eye shine. There's literally no eye shine. And the guy was stuck on that fact. He's like, "Oh, that's weird. There's no eye shine." And well, it's the angle and how close we are. We're illuminating the entire forest with these lights. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If
Right.
I fully illuminate an object or a creature, whatever animal it is, you're not going to get eye shine. It's the angle and it's the distance. It's the amount of light that's actually reaching the eyes that creates the eye shine. You can notice it if you driving down the road and you see deer. You can see eye shine ahead of you, but as you
Mm-hmm.
get closer and closer to that deer, the eye shine's gone. Now you see the full
Yeah.
deer. See what I'm saying? So I think it
Mm-hmm.
has a lot to do with the angle, and of course how much illumination is getting to that animal.
Okay. All right. Let me address a few things. Van, yeah, I kind of remember your video about Shadow Man. Now his eyes was red, brother. You was in trouble. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll have to talk about that. But I do want to address this question because it's going to be where we move on to. Why are some reported red, some amber, and some blue?
Mhm.
I'm going to go to Flat Rock first with that and let him see what he says about it. What do you think about that, Flat Rock?
Well, I ain't never seen the blue.
Hmm.
I've seen the white, the embers, and the red. Red, I didn't see with my own eyes. Uh, Blue eyes. Joe Parker actually seen the red eyes. We had actually caught it on film one night out here. Um, I don't know anything about blue eyes. I have never seen blue eyes, so I really can't talk about that. Why they got different eyes? Why you see different, color eyes? I can't tell you. I really can't. I know it's there. I've seen them,
Hmm.
but I can't tell you why. Just like the whites in their eyes. The first one I just seen strictly black eyes, no
Hmm.
whites whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I got some footage uh, of a family up in this little block right here behind me. Uh, this creature's up higher than the camera, and I'm figuring he's looking down toward the camera, and you could actually see the whites in his eyes. It's just one eye, but you can see the white. You can see the big old pupil, but you can
Hmm.
see the white around the pupil. I believe when they're looking downwards, you could actually see that white. If they're looking to the right or left, you could probably see the white on one side of their eyes.
Hmm.
But if they're looking right at you, you just go see that just solid pupil,
Hmm.
of the black eyes, and that's all I can really say about it.
Well, I figured, that's what I was bringing up the dog analogy. If it looks down far enough, you'll see just a sliver. You're not going to see a lot of white that we naturally have. That's the reason I use the dog analogy. I want to get back on this right here. Uh, Miss Blue Eyed said also on thermal eye shine or glow is the heat around the eye socket. I've never heard of that. What do you guys think about that?
Hmm.
Well, thermal picks up heat. So anywhere where the body's giving off a little bit more heat than anywhere else, you are going to see that. So,
Yeah.
but as far as the color goes, I think it's just the spectrum. See what I'm saying? Again, it might have to do with the angle, the amount of light, because I have seen white and I've seen a light amber, not an orange, but a light amber.
Mm.
Um, but again, I have never seen red, but it would probably be based upon how much light is actually entering that eye and the angle. I think angle has a lot to do with it. So it's a spectrum. It's a light spectrum. You know what I mean? The eye is full of fluid. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So, and our eyes are made to see certain spectrums. Their eyes are probably different. They see a different spectrum, so we're going to see different colors. I haven't seen blue. I agree with Flat Rock. I've never seen blue or anything like that. It's mostly white or an amberish type color. Um, but I think it's like again, I think it's the spectrum. I think it's the angle and the amount of light.
Okay. Well, I know somebody has had it on their show, and I think it was you, Richard, on your one of your shows, uh, that there was a gentleman on there, and he said, and he had a piece of paper laying on his desk, and he said something to you. He said, "I don't know what this is all about," but he said, "I have seen blue eyeshine." He pulled up that piece of paper, and it was blue, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness gracious!" I'm like everybody else, until a recent trip. When I say recent, last year, uh,
Hmm.
I believe it was it in October. Colbert? No, it was in August.
No, it was August.
It was in August. Okay. Um, in August, I did see something blue out in the woods. But here, guys, and I'm gonna throw this caveat out there. I've got glasses, and they're kind of old, and not that they're all scratched up or nothing like that. They're still good glasses. But sometimes I feel like when I'm go outside and smoke a cigarette at night, I've got a light on inside my garage, and every now and then
Hmm.
I'll see something blue, but it's like more of a streak. And when I move my glasses, it goes away. Okay, but we seen, or I seen, and I didn't want to say nothing to Bear about it because glasses could do that. But I did see something blue out in those woods directly in front of me, and it stayed there. And I just kept staring at it for a couple seconds, something like that. I turned my head, I looked back, and it was gone. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, in a few, let's say 10, 15 seconds later, maybe possibly, I looked again, and that blue, I'm going to say eye shine. Okay, guys, I don't know for sure. But it had moved over to the right of me, and it was a lighter color blue. You know, I don't know how to explain that. It's more like it was a baby blue or sky blue versus over here, it was a little bit darker and kind of brighter. Okay. But yeah, I have seen the blue. I feel like, I'm gonna let Barry explain to me or anybody else what he thinks about the blue lights or eyeshine.
Well, the blue eye shine was that made the second time that I'd seen something that looked like blue, not a dark blue, but a light blue. Um,
Hmm.
and eye shine. The first time it ever happened, I was in here in West Virginia, up in uh, Greenbrier County, and come around a curve on an old country road. It was one of those old West Virginia roads where there was more holes than there was road, and it was an old tar and chip road. And come around the curve and caught two females in a small opening in the woods. You really can't call it a field because it had multiple rows in it, um, and some other plants in there and tall weeds. And when the headlights hit them, the one looked at me and it had blue eyes, and when the younger one looked at me, it had blue eyes also. But both of them were clearly female. And then last year in August, we seen the blue eye shine there right there in the campground, basically straight across from where your tent was in October of last year, Richard. And but it wasn't on the ground; it was up in the tree, up in the forks of the tree. And I looked at the tree the next morning, and it would have been a perfect place for one to have been standing there on the tree, looking out and blinking at us, and then it could lean right back. And if you threw a light up there, it was you didn't see anything because
Yeah.
it must have been standing behind a tree. It was one of those white oaks that looks like a hand, at the top of it. So I don't know. I don't know how the blue got there, but I've seen it twice now on two separate occasions, and I've seen the white eye shine. I've seen red. I've seen orange. I've seen yellow. Um, you know, Typical eye shine that you get from other creatures in the wild. And I've seen Bigfoot with the same colorations, and it has to do with the angle that they're looking at you, or something. That it has to do with the angle that the light's hitting into their eye to give them a different color.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Flat Rock on this. I'm gonna say this much. I'm just throwing this out there, guys. I don't know. All right. But I am under the assumption, how you got does and bucks and stuff like that. They have different color eye shine. Uh, the only thing that I can, how to say this, is blue could indicate a female. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
It's
It's a possibility. I don't know. But you hardly ever hear about a blue eye shine. But it ain't been just me or Bear. I heard a guy on I think it's Richard's show, that he did see blue eye shine, which is odd. Just like Trackway said, I saw gold, yellow, amber, all that kind of stuff. But here's something that I'm really, yeah, a very soft blue. Now, the second one for me, uh, Blue Eyes, was a soft blue. It's kind of like a sky blue. But the first one was more of a darker blue. It wasn't dark that you couldn't see it. It was just a darker, brighter blue, where the other one was more lighter, like it was going away. Uh, like Richard said, it might have been at a certain angle. Uh, Go ahead, Flat Rock.
I got go out for a minute. My mic is going bad because y'all are stacking real bad. So I'm gonna go out. I'll come right back in.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. His mic does sound really bad.
yeah.
All right. I had cataract surgery a year ago. My wife said sometimes she sees my eyes glow at night with minimal light. Does anybody have anything on that? I've never heard that.
Actually have heard that where different people have had
hmm
different eye surgeries, and it did make a difference and stuff like that. People could say, especially contact lenses and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize is that changes that reflection. If somebody's wearing contact lenses, it changes the reflection in the eyes, because it's an obstacle between the light and the inside of the eye, even though it's clear. I have heard that where people will say, I had cataract surgery or LASIK surgery, and it made changes.
Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, Flat Rock, go ahead.
On, I lost the spot. Where was that?
Eye shine blue, red, gold, amber,
Well,
the
again,
different colors.
I've only seen the three different ones. That's the white, the amber, and the red. That's when Joe, Bud, Miss Pat caught it on video when we was out here. Um, I can't tell you why. I really don't. Why it does that? Now, a lot of people talk about green eye shine. Now, green eye shine
hmm
is mostly a deer, in my opinion, when they see green eye shine, when they're looking out in the woods. 'Cause when we was hunting back in Florida, we'd go out and we'd shine the woods, at nighttime, and we'd see mostly green eye shine. And we never seen back then white, amber, or red. It was always just green eye shine from the deer. uh, Raccoons have blue eye shine. If you spotlight them, they got blue eye shine, but they're,
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking something real narrow though. You know,
yeah,
you can
they're
actually tell the difference between raccoon and a Bigfoot for sure. But that's about all I know about eye shine, icebox.
That's
Well,
interesting. Go ahead, Rich.
well, being in Florida, anybody who's been here and went out at night on boats and stuff, airboats and different things to go out in the swamp area, you'll see the gator's eye shine. That's what we look for. You
Yep.
see the gator's eye shine, and it's always like a whitish color, a bright, But sometimes at the right angle, it's a yellowish color. It's not completely white.
hmm
It's a yellowish color, and we look for that because we can almost tell the exact size of a gator due to the distance between the eyes and the size of the eyes. Um, so they do change. I had an incident, I guess about 4 years ago. We were researching an area, and I got to this fence line that bordered another property where they allowed horseback riding and stuff like that. And I was shining. I got a flashlight that literally will light up the moon, and I'm scanning the woods, and I saw eye shine really tall from a distance. It was probably a good
hmm
200 yards away, but it looked really tall, really. And I was like, "Holy crap!" I froze for a moment. I got a guy with me. I said, "Look at that! There's eye shine." And then two more eyes popped up a little lower. Like one was real high, and then the next one was a
hmm
little lower, and then the one that was lower went high. And I was like, "Holy crap!" So as we got moved closer, it ended up being two cows. You know what I mean? And they were grazing, and then they'd lift their head up, and a cow is,
right,
is a very large animal. So when it lifts
yeah,
its head up, it could be easily 7 feet. And a cow is a very large animal, and especially the bulls. But it ended up being two cows, and they were both at different levels because one had his head down looking at us, and then he lifted up, which made it look like the eyes rose, like something stood up. It was really really
yeah,
creepy. Um, but they were white, very white. So I go back to what I was saying is a lot, almost every animal has some level of eye shine. We see it all the time with fox and raccoons and coyotes and different things like that. So, but like again, nothing self-illuminating. You know what I mean? There's always some kind of light. Like I remember one time sitting on the back of trucks watching this field, and we saw eye shine kind of bouncing along. You know what I mean? And it ended up
hmm
being it was a coyote, and none of us were running any kind of lights. But again, it was a very bright moon. It was a bright night. It was a beautiful night. It's a bright night when you don't need flashlights to walk through the woods.
hmm
We've
yeah,
all been there. You're walking through the woods, and you're like, "Shit, I'm going to shut my flashlight off because I can actually see a good 30, feet ahead of me and stuff like that." And like I said, all of a sudden you think you see eye shine and you're not running any lights, and you think it's self-illuminating, and it's really not. It's just the perfect storm where it's this clear sky, it's a beautiful moon, just everything aligns to give up that creature's position because of the eye shine.
yeah. Well, I'll give you for instance. Uh, we were a few months ago. My wife and I, we went out to a friend's of mine, and we do a lot of the Bigfoot investigation at his place because we've gotten screams there, we've gotten howls. I've been pelted with rocks a few times, um, and we were out there. We just went out of his place because he invited us to come out, and we were sitting there, and my wife was sitting in front of me, and I'm looking at her, and we had a fire. We had a pretty good sized fire, and it wasn't hot, that night. It wasn't, one of those nights where it's 85 degrees and humidity 90%. It was one of those nights where it was 60 degrees. There wasn't hardly, humidity may have been 20, 30%. And I looked at her, and my buddy was sitting there, and I looked up, and I looked just over the top of her head, and I saw green eyes. And I'm looking, and I'm thinking, it's probably a deer, or it's, something, some type of ungulate, a whitetail, maybe a cow got loose.
Mhm.
Well, the thing was, it went from being 2 or 3 foot off the ground to that 6 to 7 foot off the ground. And when it stood up, it was backlit by the moon because it was over on the other side, on the other hill. Um, and you could clearly see the head, shoulders, and the arms. You couldn't see the lower half because its lower half was below the crest of the hill. And I was like, honey, you got a friend behind you. She's like, how close? I said, oh, maybe 100 yards. And it was so moonlit. It was one of those super full moons, lit up. You could see just fine in the woods. And that section of the woods is pretty open. And I could see the Bigfoot standing there and those green eyes. I think that the fire that we had built was shining enough light on that Bigfoot's face that it was giving the impression of a green eyes. That's the only way I can explain the green color.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fire was what was making that Bigfoot's eyes look green,
Well, yeah,
because it was not imminent. It was not, and it was not like you said. It wasn't pushing light out. It was being reflected.
yeah. For example, a camera is an eye. Okay, it's
Right.
made in kind of the same perspective where it's taking in information, and then it has a spectrum on the inside, and blah blah blah. It separates the light and all that. If you ever take and you bring up a good point, because you could take a camera and take a photograph of a campfire, and you'll see different colors in the
Yep.
campfire. Where if you're looking at it with the naked eye, you don't see those colors. See what I'm saying? So,
Right.
like that's what I was saying, is it's about a spectrum thing in my theory, because depending on the angle, the amount of light that's reaching the eyes of whatever you're looking at could determine what color you're seeing just by that spectrum
Mm-hmm.
that it's being divided up in that eye. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is why I do these kind of shows, Van. I mean, I know it doesn't grab the most of subscribers and views, but this is stuff for all of us to learn. For instance, like Trackway was saying that horses have blue eyes.
mhm.
Flat Rock said a while ago that raccoons have blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
it's not all the time. You never know what you're going to. I'm learning myself, guys. Trust me. Flat Rock, what else you got there, brother, on the eyes?
Well, there's a picture I have. It's the one I took out my window across my driveway when I was still in my fifth wheel of these two creatures. You can actually see eye shine on one. I mean, they're side by side. You can actually see the eye shine on one, but the other one, you can't see no eye shine. And they're
Mhm.
both in the light. So both of them should have been reflecting eye shine. One of them is, one of them ain't. I don't know if he's blinking at the time when I caught the picture or whatever, but it's just one that just has eye shine, the other one don't. And there was another one that when Bob and my mom was coming down the driveway, and they seen some amber eyes around the tree, and they both seen it. So Bob, he's going slowly, and he's coming around, and he whips toward where he sees his eye sign, and he pulls in and bright lights it. Even though you can still see that eye shine, this creature is so black. I mean, he's no more than 40 yards from the car.
Hmm.
And this thing is just so black. All you can see is the silhouette of it. You still can't. You can
Hmm.
see the what he looks like, but you can't see him now. All you could see was those damn eyes, around that tree. That's all you could see.
Well,
You
I mean,
know?
I don't know if this happened to you guys. This has happened to me a few times where you're out in the woods with other guys, and I'll see something, like an eye shine, and I'll say, "Hey, I've got something over here. Let's look at this." I can have somebody right beside me with their flashlight and not see the eye shine that I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at. So I'll tell them, "Get behind me, get to the same angle, and shine your
Hmm.
flashlight." Then I was like, "Oh, I see it now. I see it." See what I'm
Yep.
saying? So even the slightest angle, just the slightest angle, could change your perspective and what you're looking at.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Especially a flashlight. And I've got some really good. It's one thing I don't scamper on is the price of my flashlights because I got some that, like I said, will light up the moon. Um, but all flashlights, LED or whatever, they're brighter in the center than they are on the outside. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So they can stand off center just a little bit and maybe either not get eye shine or a totally different color.
Yeah.
Because again, I just believe it's in angles and what's actually how much light is actually entering um, the subject's eyes.
I can agree with that, Richard. I really can. The reason I can say that is when I caught this one right over here on the other side of my door here, right there at the wood line. Me, my pastor, a lot of y'all know this picture I'm going to talk about. We come out the door. Before we come out the door, we flashlight that area right there where this logging road goes back into the woods. And we flashlight there before we come out the door. We come down the steps. We didn't see nothing over there. We turn around, we see the trail camera go off. That's out in front of us on this side of the house, pointed toward the woodline. That when that trail camera flipped off, you know, again we thought it was just taking a picture of us. It caught a creature standing directly behind us where we just put our flashlight, my porch lights on, so we should have still seen flashlight unless he was turned around or had his eye closed.
Hmm.
But when that camera went off and we caught that thing standing right behind us, and caused that eye shine.
I remember that
Uh,
picture.
yeah. When we I can't say that that's both eyes because I can't really tell what this light is over here because it just looks too far away from this one eye shine that really that you can see really good, but this other one, it looks totally different than this first eye shine. It looks like it's still a little bit too far away. I can't tell you what this light is over here. All I know is this one eye is definitely eye shine because you see all the way down in space, but I can't tell what this other light is that's right there beside him.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
can't tell.
let me interject something here. I was on the phone with Flat Rock one night, and before I tell this story, I will welcome in Mr. Athos. That's always good to see Lenny. It worries me when I don't see him on here. And we got Samurai Chatter. I don't know who exactly that is, but hey, we're glad to see you. Let's see who else has come in. Twister, that's my guy. I'll do a little bit of announcement. Not that the Bigfoot community would worry with what I'm fixing to say. But anyways, hey, Mr. Tyler 420. I haven't seen you either, sir, but glad to have you. We really are. Anyways, so I'm talking to Flat Rock on the phone, and he lets Boo out, I believe, and Boo doesn't bark or anything like that. And uh, next thing I hear from Flat Rock is there's eye shine in a tree right there by him. I'm on him right away. Take a picture, take a video, do
Mm-hmm.
something, because I'm on the phone with him. And I'm sure you couldn't take video. You probably could take the picture. You guys know if you're on the phone, your video is not going to work.
Exactly.
But he got a picture, and bless his heart, uh, He's like me. We forget things. Anything that anybody else would do in the heat of the moment, he takes the picture, but he moves the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And y'all know what that does. It's just a long street. And he said it to me. I said, take another. Dadgummit. Don't
And
you
I
see
did.
y'all?
I
Well,
did.
Yeah.
we had an incident at this one location, and it was our last night there. We were actually in the process of just talking, just freeze at the camp, and we were packing up. We were getting ready because we knew we were all leaving the following morning. So we wanted to pack up everything. So the next day we just had to do the tents and sleeping bags and stuff. And that's when we had a pretty significant something happen where we had vocalizations, and that was actually the first time ever that me and the other people there actually drew our pew pews, because it was so close, so loud, and it ended up being multiple. We were literally we know of about five that were around this campsite area and rotating. They were moving. You could hear sticks breaking and stuff like that. So I have a headlamp and I'm filming. That's the first thing I did was start filming because that's what I do. I love filming, not photographs. And
Yeah.
so we're walking around. We're some are shining flashlights, some are doing this. We never saw and this is all on my channel, Bigfoot Florida Guide. I think it's the title of it was We Were Surrounded. But anyways,
I remember
um,
that
it
video.
wasn't
Yeah.
until it wasn't
Hmm.
until we reviewed the film that we found the eye shine, and it was really weird eye shine that it was like at an angle, like it was walking but slightly looking at us. So you saw one eye very clear, the closest eye to us, and then the second eye you just saw a little bit of it, which told us this thing, its head was turned. See what I'm saying? Again, we didn't see it live, and we're running flashlights, we're running headlamps, and stuff, but it was just outside of the reach of my headlamp. So when we reviewed it, we found it. We went back to the location, and it was easy to find because in the film you see the trees, you see everything was perfect that we could line it up, find the exact place, by the size and distance we were at where I was standing when I filmed that. So we were able to go back to that spot, have somebody stand there, and then we reenacted it during the daylight hours. Okay, and so we lined up both photographs. We had both of them, and I said, okay, now raise your walking. He had a walking cane stick, hiking stick. Raise it till I tell you to stop, and that's where the level of the eye was, the eye shine,
Hmm.
and it was approximately about 8 feet. Okay, um, that same day when we
Hmm.
did the daylight investigation, we both he found one, I found one at the same time. We found uh, prints that were identical. I'm over here going, oh my God, look, check this out. And I'm measuring it. Because I do everything. I measure, I get the depth, I do all this. He's like, hey, I got some over here. Come over here. I go over there, and he's a good
Sure.
20 feet away. We find another print, exact same size, exact same depth, everything. So it was whatever it was the same individual. You know what I mean? And the substrate in those two areas are perfect to at least catch a footprint. Um, but like I said, that eye shine was not visible live with my headlamp. It was visible when we went back and reviewed the video because we were so excited about what had happened that night because it went on for a good hour and a half or so. It went on for so long that we went to bed and we could still hear it in the woods. What was going on, and
Hmm.
but that was the first time I'd actually caught eye shine on video, but you had to find it and zoom in. And sure enough, the guy told me, he says, "Hey, look at this. I'm going to send this to you. Don't." He says what he said was he texted me really fast. He says, "Don't delete your footage. You need to look at this," because he was reviewing it also. And luckily, I had not deleted it. I hadn't because usually when I do the video and I put it on the channel, I delete the originals. I used to keep
Yeah.
everything, but it accumulates so much. It eats up so much
Hmm.
space. That you just gotta sometimes weigh your options and say, okay, I've got it. It's in the video, so we have that to look at. Um, so
Yeah. I remember the whole video. And I thought it was very interesting how y'all went about measuring and uh, all that good stuff. But anyways, Joe Parker, you need to behave yourself. Instead,
Joe needs Joe needs to come on now. He's the one who caught. He was actually seeing that red eye shine before we even picked it up on camera. I think when he first seen it, we was out in the woods just walking around. Actually got turned around on that little walk too, but he kept seeing this reddish eye shine. He kept saying, he caught a glimpse of red eye shine. So uh, we came on back. We're sitting around the fire right here, and I think it was Miss Jody. We was gonna have her come over here and do a little howl out toward the front. And Miss Pat, she was filming her Angie, and she just happened to move the camera toward toward my mom's back shed back there, and that's where we actually filmed this red eye shine that is above the light right above the door. Uh,
Hmm.
that's the eye shine was right above that light. That was the height of
yeah,
that red eye shine was right above that light above the door of the shed. So we're figuring 7.5, somewhere up in there. But that was a great capture they caught that night out here, and that's the first time I've ever seen red eye shine. But Joe, he was actually seeing it long before we even captured that on film. Back out in the woods. So it could have followed us back around here, just watching us. If it was a creature. But yeah, that was a great catch by Joe and Miss Pat. So, seeing it before and catching it on film in a different area.
I remember
Sure
that
enough.
Bud Nadji had a night. I think it was a night vision thing. I think it was just the ladies, if I remember right. It was Blue Eyes,
Yeah.
her, and someone else. I think. And they showed me the video, and I asked them. I said, "Did you happen to see the eye shine back in there?" I think it was, wasn't it? Bud will tell. It was kind of to the right of the frame and down just a little bit. If you really wasn't paying attention, you'd missed it. You'd missed it. But I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask
I
Bear.
think they caught that last year when they were here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure did. Bear, to you, red light, red eyes, white eyes, gold, amber, blue, whatever. And I'm gonna ask you a specific question. To you, what does red eyes mean to you?
Well, I've talked to a lot of older people that over the years, um, that it deals with the temperament of the creature.
Hmm.
Um, Most people, when they've seen red eyes, that Bigfoot's ticked off. And, I understand that, the times that I've seen red eyes, I've seen right there in Nicholas County, West Virginia, I got a tree pushed over on me
Hmm.
and seen red eyes. The moment the tree fell, um, I looked and seen a set of red eyes. You know, I, you can draw your own conclusions from that, but to me, it's when they're upset, when they're angry. I've seen red eyes on Bigfoot. They may throw a limb at you. They might push a tree over. They might they do something that shows being that they're upset with you. When I've seen red eyes, and you know there was something I wanted to ask Richard. You know, we were talking about the angle of the light going into their eyes and everything. Could can the angle of where the Bigfoot's looking or how it's looking at you. Like if it's got its head down and it's looking up, like towards the top of its head, or it's looking at you sideways. Could that not also affect the coloration that we get from
Oh,
the reflection?
I do. I think, like I said, I think colors are based on angles and the amount of light.
Hmm.
Like I said, it's because I've seen it in regular animals where, even raccoons, where they're white, but then they'll turn or move, and it looks different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I think it is the angle, the amount of light. You could get white no matter what angle due to the amount of light. That hasn't changed.
hmm,
But I think if the amount of light, the angle, everything changes, it could affect the color or the brightness or anything like that. Like I said, due to the angle of the one that we caught and the distance probably played a lot in the fact that we didn't see it with our own eyes, but we were able to catch it
right,
on film because cameras do catch a lot more light than our own eyes do. So I think that had to
right.
play a lot in why we saw it on the video and not live. So yeah, I do agree with that. That I think it's angles. I think it's the spectrum that it's receiving and creating that color.
Now, I'm gonna ask a question.
Okay,
And this is kind of odd as far as I'm concerned. And I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna step out for a minute. You all know what I'm doing. Um, do they have red, yellow, green, blue, whatever, simply because of mood?
I mean, it's one of those things. It's hard to say yes or no. I mean, we don't know, and without long-term study, it'll be very difficult.
hmm,
I mean, you can see red and they can be angry, or I don't know. Maybe you can see red and it's like I said, it's just the angle, the distance, and the light. I don't know. It's one of those things that without long-term study and a lot of, you would have to see eye shine a lot to accumulate that amount of information to draw some level of a theory or a conclusion to that. Like I said, I as far as what I would consider not a normal animal, something that's unexplained, I've only had a couple of times. Um, but again, I see a lot of different animals. Deer's another one that sometimes at a distance or a different angle, I'll see a different color on a deer's eyes. Sometimes they're white,
yeah,
and then sometimes there is kind of like a bluish maybe tint to it. Um, you see it in car headlights, when they're coming down the road. Sometimes you see a blue hue until it gets closer to you, and then the blue disappears. You know what I mean? So I think
yeah,
it's the amount of that light that you're absorbing and looking at and stuff like that. Maybe let's turn it around. Let's look at a different theory. Is what if it's us? It's our eyes that is creating the optical of blue, red, or whatever. See what I'm saying? Maybe it's
yeah.
not them at all. It's our perspective. See what I'm saying? Due to what our eyes are now absorbing and filtering and stuff like that. Again, who knows? It's like I said, all everything's a theory until someday we get long term study, which would probably take capturing one, which I don't think is likely, but who knows? Miracles happen.
Yeah, I don't ever see with the materials we have today, it would be really tough to get one and hold it in a cage. I do believe that.
Yeah, I think if, and we can always say the government may have it, Smithsonian may have them, who knows? But if they do, it's dead. Okay, they're not keeping it
Hmm.
alive. Um,
No,
and then if it's dead, you'll never have the answer to these questions because it's dead. There's not going to be no self illumination. There's not going to be any eye shine. There's not going to be anything. Now they can study the eye and come up with theories on, well, due to the structure of the eye, this is probably capable of doing this or possibility of this. But again, it's dead. You know what I mean? It's even in
hmm,
humans. It's in humans when you're with somebody at that moment, and I'd been in that position where I'm with somebody at the moment of their passing, their eyes do change. There is
yeah,
a physical change in the eyes. See what I'm saying? So yeah, I think if quote the government or whoever may have one of these, it's not alive. It's I don't
No,
think they're
I
keeping. I
don't.
don't think.
Well,
I don't
Richard,
think
let me
they're
That
ask
keeping
would.
a good
you.
pet.
Let me ask you a question, Richard. Now, I know a lot of people have seen these creatures all over military bases. Okay,
Hmm.
if they're on military bases, we know the government knows about them. The biggest story I know about the military bases, my friend Tyler, he that's where he researches out there on Eglin Air Force Base. He gets a lot of stories out there as well. He's actually caught footage of one out there. But he's had pilots, retired pilots, talk to him about their encounters. And they one that I know of that has told him that before they can go out there and make these bombing runs, practice bombing runs, that they got to send a crew in there, just to shoot, not shoot at them, but just to shoot, to run them off the bombing
Hmm.
runs. So if military knows about these things, the government damn well knows about these
Well, I'll give
things.
you a prime example. That you made a really good point. I'll give you a prime example. If everybody goes,
Todd Neese is another one
he,
on a
yeah,
military base.
correct. But I'll give
Captain
you one,
Joe, Captain
Captain
Joe from the Sasquatch
Encounter
Encounter
Brigade.
Brigade. He's
That's
seen
who I was going
one.
to bring up. Captain
Yep,
Joe,
yep.
when him and Johnny were doing a show together, Captain Joe was, he's a great hero, lost a leg
Hmm.
for our
Yep,
country. He
yep.
was doing a sniper
Hmm.
competition, a shooting competition. Again, like you said, they clear the area. I mean,
Hmm.
safety is everything when they hold these competitions.
Hmm.
And he was with a spotting scope, when they were doing the live fire, and this thing
Hmm.
came out at the other end of the firing range and walked across, and he was looking at through a spotting scope, which is a very powerful telescope. I mean, it
Oh
it
yeah.
really zooms in on the body, and he got a very clear look at this thing to the point where they shut down the competition. They shut it down, which is a feat in itself, and did a complete safety check. People went out there because he said there is somebody out there. Somebody walked across, and they're going to get killed. You know what I mean? Because you're shooting. Um, so those things do happen.
Yep.
I was at Camp Lejeune for 8 years, and there were people. I hunted that property. I hunted Camp Lejeune. It's 400 and something thousand acres. It's
Yeah.
massive, and I used to religiously hunt it every year, and there I have spoken to different Marines that were stationed out there. They have seen some awkward things out there while they're sitting in their deer stand and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily. I think it's because most bases are thousands upon thousands of acres, of thousands. You know what I mean? We have one locally here, the Avon Park Bombing Range, that's roughly 20 miles away from me. It's thousands and thousands of acres that the Air Force uses out of MacDill for bombing runs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It would not surprise me if there was something out there. You know what I mean? Because of
Hmm.
not just because it's a military installation, because it's just a massive amount of land. It's massive.
Massive. It's like Eglin, that's the biggest Air Force base in the state of Florida, if I ain't mistaken. Uh, and these creatures, I mean, he's got a lot of reports from retired people that come off Eglin. And there's another guy. He had, he was going to ask these soldiers, they were just walking down the road outside the fence, headed back toward, I think they were Rangers, is what they were. But he actually pulled over to them and asked them about, have they seen anything weird out there in these woods or strange? And he got the reply back, dude, you wouldn't believe what's back there in them woods. And they knew exactly what they were both talking about because the guy actually brought up about Bigfoot, and but that's how that ranger told him back, that he wouldn't believe what's back there in that woods. So basically confirming that they knew what was back there as well. I
Yeah.
mean, there's been a lot of evidence collected over there at Eglin Air Force Base, And
I
why?
mean, it,
I mean, I just don't know why they're hiding it from, because everybody knows. Everybody knows,
Mhm.
except the
well,
people who don't want to know.
yeah, I think it's funny because when we talk about that particular theory of why don't we know, why won't the government disclose it and stuff like that, I do believe there's been a soft disclosure on it. Um, but as far as coming flat out saying yes, these things exist and stuff like that, people say it's because it'll shut down national parks and stuff like that. I actually think it's the opposite. I think if people were told Yellowstone National Park, it's confirmed 100% there are Bigfoot out here, I think people would go out there just
Yeah,
for the opportunity to see one of these things
yeah,
because
Mhm.
crazy ass buffalo ain't stopping them. Grizzly
that's
bears
right.
aren't stopping people from going out there. Moose aren't stopping. Those are all animals that are known to hurt people, but and people still go out there, they still camp, they still hike and stuff like that. So I don't think Bigfoot would change anything. I think it's
Yeah,
mostly money. I think it's finances. I think it's money that is the big culprit here,
yeah,
because we always bring up the what was it, the spotted owl, how it shut down the logging industry instantly, and that's a $800 billion a year industry, and it shut it down.
yeah,
So those companies that make that kind of money have lobbyists. They have
yeah,
people in Washington to say, hey, no, we need to continue to make money. We need to open up these areas, and they're going to discredit Bigfoot every opportunity they get,
Mhm.
so they can continue to do. Because if there is a Bigfoot, now you're talking again an animal that is extremely rare. It's probably going extinct. You know what I mean? So now you have to protect it. You have to give it its range. You have to give it, you know, its room to live and survive. That would again shut down, different, entities that use our forests.
yeah.
But I don't think the national parks is it. I don't. I really don't buy into people won't go out anymore because it's not
Right,
stopping people today. We talk about
right.
Bigfoot every day, and it's not stopping people from going out camping and stuff. So
That's right. I mean, I'll give you another one. Like right here in Evergreen, uh, they call it, and went through the Alabama state legislature, that and made Evergreen the Bigfoot capital of Alabama. Well, a lot of people thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke when they first moved that Bigfoot statue here. Okay,
Yeah.
there's even a report on a documentary how it made a lot of people mad when they did that. Uh, and to come find out, yeah, them damn things are real, you know. But I believe they actually done that for money's sake, for people to come to Evergreen, spend money, whatever. It's a tourist thing. And but yeah, I think the forestry industry, the national park, when they say yeah, we'll shut it down, take all that money, I think that's a cop out. That's
yeah,
my personal opinion. It's a cop out. Um,
Well,
go
Let
ahead,
me let
Orton.
me
well,
inter- yeah, let me
the
interject
thing.
real quick, real quick, Bear. Uh, she said, Blue Eye did say something about there's places off limits due to these creatures. I can attest to that personally. Redstone Arsenal has a lot of property, and a lot of it borders the Tennessee River. Matter of fact, its whole, I'm going to say, the southern side of it is basically at the river, and you can't go into certain areas because they don't want you there. And I've been in places where I got lost and had a drone
Hmm.
come out checking me out, you know. But those places in the wintertime, they will allow hunting. And I don't understand why they do that in the wintertime, you know, or during deer season when the rest of the time it's off limits. I don't understand that, but I kind of do, you know, because we all know that, or we all seem to think that Bigfoot likes to disappear when it gets cold in the wintertime, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of rare that you hear of a sighting in the wintertime. Not saying that it don't happen. I'm just saying it's more or less of. And I wonder if they kind of, you know, that you're more safer in the wintertime going out in the woods hunting than you are spring, summer, and fall. And that's just an opinion I've got. And before we move on to Bear, you know, we was talking about eyeshine, and I thought this was interesting. Maybe illusion due to the blood vessels of the white of their eyes. That's hey, that's a good. good hypothesis. I don't know how to answer that question. But anyways, go ahead, Bear. I'm sorry. And by the way, hey
Well,
Steve, I'm glad you could make it. Go ahead, Bear.
well, the thing I wanted to say is, guys, you have to remember, um, you know, when it came to the logging industry being shut down out west, in the western states, from Montana to California, that was because there was a major lawsuit brought
Mm-hmm.
by animal rights groups.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They
Exactly.
went to federal court and got an injunction to stop the logging because, they said, well, the spotted owl is almost extinct. And they went to a federal judge that gave a broad injunction that kept the logging industry out. And yeah, it took years for the logging industry to get back into some of these places that they were pushed out of. When it comes to Bigfoot, you have to remember, yeah, people are going to go, if the federal government come out and said, all right, Bigfoot's in Yosemite National Park, everybody and their brother that wants to see a Bigfoot is going to head to Yosemite.
Hmm.
And once they get there, that's not the problem. The government ain't going to complain because those people had to spend money for day passes, hiking passes, whatever. And they're going to spend a bunch of money. But the problem is you got animal rights groups, you got people that are bigfooting that don't want other people to go out and terrorize, is what the word that they would use, these creatures. And the first thing they're going to do is the government recognizes it. There's going to be a short period of everybody running out to wherever the government says these creatures are. They're going to be out there investigating. They're going to be out there all times of the day and night, multiple days on end just to see one.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, there's a lawsuit in the federal court, not in Montana or not in Arizona or in California, but there's a lawsuit brought up in Washington, D.C., and the federal court throws an injunction on it. And now all the national parks are shut down because that park is shut down because a federal judge sided with that little off the wall group that said they're terrorizing these creatures. They have to be protected. And it's not because of the government would have a problem with everybody going there, because you're talking millions or billions of dollars all of a sudden going into the economy in that area. Now you're talking about that little tiny two-person group that gets a lawyer to go to a federal judge who grants an injunction, and
Well,
that
that
part's
what
closed.
that's the point I was bringing up is if the spotted owl was found and it was an animal that was on the endangered species list, so they needed to
Mm-hmm.
protect it. That's what caused the shutdown. That's what hurt. They. That's why I think that's the biggest thing that we fight against is the big money, which is the logging industry, because now they're like, great, now there's an endangered Bigfoot in our area, and they're going to want to shut it down so they can protect it,
Yeah.
research it, find it. So they're going to go that route again. And I think because of the money, they have lobbyists that are in the government, that are spending money towards, congressmen, senators, whoever, to keep this quiet because we don't want to lose
Yeah.
the industry again. I'm one of those people that
Yeah.
if 100% in my research area it came out 100% Bigfoot's there, I'd be one of the first ones to say, okay, let's protect them. Let's what can we
Mm-hmm.
put in place so that this thing can continue on, and people can continue to see it or analyze it or whatever they want to do, but keep it alive. I'd be one of those ones that would be an
Mm-hmm.
advocate of protecting it.
Well,
Right. Well, there's
don't they already do that? I mean, you got
Well, they do. That's where I was saying
the
that's the
you got the
soft.
green. Let me say this: you got the green swamp. You got the whole state of Tennessee. You got the whole state of Kentucky. You got California, Washington, Oregon. Uh, all you got laws protecting this creature already.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I
But
was saying.
yet,
That's the
but
soft
yet, but
disclosure.
yet, I mean, they say one thing, and then they turn around and say, "Oh, they ain't real, but
Right.
we're protecting them, just in case." I mean,
Well,
well,
Marion on the show last night brought up a great point because we brought up the Great Swanee River, that hunting
mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
says there is no taking of skunk ape. And why did they put it in the hog section? Because
Mm-hmm.
nobody reads the
Hmm.
hog section. There's no regulation on hogs. Why would you go and look at the hog section to see what the rules are if you're going out to hog hunt? Because there are no rules. And because you brought
right.
up the point, she brought up a great point that they put it in there to see if you're reading the
Mm-hmm.
manual, which that's a good point. Hey, let's put something. I said, and I made the joke. Well, why didn't they put in there no shooting in Mickey Mouse? People would find it and read it and go, oh, you know what I mean? And we say we put that in there to make sure you
Hmm.
are reading it. No, they mentioned skunk ape, but they didn't put it where people should read, like deer,
Right.
um, 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 different animals that have hunting seasons. They put it in the hog section. Nobody reads the hog section because there is no regulation. You can hunt night, day,
Right.
any weapon. You can use spotlights. There is
Hmm.
there is no rules. So why would you put it there? Because see what I'm saying? But it's there to cover their butts because if Rick goes out there and kills a skunk ape, they're gonna I guarantee you this is how it'll work out. They're gonna come to you and say, okay, well, it says it right here. They're gonna use that in that hunting manual against you now and say it says right here no taking of skunk apes.
Hmm.
So it's $1 million fine or 20 years in prison. But Rick, if you shut up, don't mention it again, don't say a word, we'll leave it alone. See what I'm saying? I'm probably going to shut up because I don't have $1 million to pay a fine, and I'm too pretty for prison. So,
Yeah.
I,
I just,
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
you
just,
ain't dadgummit.
hey,
Uh,
so
I just believe we can protect these things just like we did the buffalo. Leave everything open, just like they are. Just like you got them over at LBL. It's like you got them over in the Pacific Northwest, over in Montana. I reckon that's where the buffalo are, or somewhere over there. But they can protect them just like that. I mean, there's no difference.
well, they would have to protect and you have to disclose it, and they're not going to do that.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? They're just not
Right.
going to disclose it. It's and it's sad to say. It's sad to say. I'm not an advocate of it, but it's sad to say it's going to take a body. It's going to take a dead one
Mhm.
to hold up and say, "Here it is," and blah blah blah. Not one of these fake bodies that roams the internet and stuff, but
mhm.
Yeah.
a true blue. This is a body. We found it. I hit it with my semi truck because it's probably take a semi truck to kill one of these things. Um, but it's going to take that. And I believe when you talk about scientists say, well, bring us a body, I think they're right. I hate to say it, but that's where we're at today. After 50 years of searching for this thing, we are at
Hmm.
that point where unless technology really skyrockets and we're able to use better equipment, better things to prove the existence, it is going to take a body. Now, it's not going to be me. I'm not
No.
going to go out there and shoot one of these things. But there are some crazy people out there that will kill one and bring it in and say, maybe they don't care about the penalty or care about the fine because there's
But
multiple states that have what you said. There's multiple states that have protections of Bigfoot.
now, let me ask this now. But what if that's the reason they don't want to bring it up? It's because they know people will go out there and shoot it.
Hmm.
Instead of just regular protecting it like they do any other type of animal, whatever, human like thing, whatever it is.
I'm not going to lie. If I was in a tree stand, I'm 20, 25 feet up in a tree stand like I used to, and one of these came out in the open, clear shot, I'd be excited. Oh my God, I see it, I see it, I see it, and I'm going to try to videotape it or whatever I need to do. But I'm not going to lie. There will be a split second in my mind that says, should I end this mystery now? Should I end this mystery now and try to take a shot at this thing? See what I'm saying? There's going to be
Hmm.
hunters out there that are going to say, heck yeah, I'm shooting son of a bitch. I'm sure there are. but it's not going to be me. I'm just saying it's not going to be me.
Well, that's the biggest thing that we have to deal with today is, you know, I never knew this until here a couple of weeks ago. The state of West Virginia uh, enacted a penalty if you shoot at a Bigfoot, not kill it, just shoot at it, and you draw blood. It's the fine is somewhere around $50,000 fine, 90 days in a state prison, not in a county jail, but a state prison, and then you lose your hunting privilege the rest of your life.
Well, here's the great thing
And
about
that's just
that. There,
drawing the blood.
I love that because here's the great thing about that. Just drawing blood. Just one, they got to prove what I shot was a Bigfoot. That means
Right.
they've got to come in the open. If we go to court, because I'm going to go to court because I'm too pretty for prison, we're going to fight this thing in court.
Yeah.
They have to openly in a courtroom verify that what I shot was a Bigfoot. Worth it.
Right.
Worth it.
Right.
See what
But
I'm saying?
here's the problem that you'll run into, I believe. Even if you go to court, the judge is going to put a gag order out on the prosecution and the defense, meaning you're not going to be able to talk about it.
Probably
It's going to
get yanked
be,
in prison.
and there's not going to be allowed any news. You're not going to be able to talk. Every day after the hearing's over, you're on bond for this. You're going to be part of your bond is going to be you can't talk. You can't say what you did. You can't. The prosecution can't say it. Nobody can talk about it, and the news is not going to be allowed in the courtroom. It's going to be a empty courtroom. Only ones in there is going to be a judge, the prosecuting attorneys, your attorney, and you, and a bailiff.
Well, and what a good thing is I have a lot of friends in the Bigfoot community. If I got arrested for
Right.
that and they know I'm going to court over this and there's a gag order and all that,
All right.
I guarantee you, 100 researchers out there are going to FOIA request whatever they can get, even if it's redacted. Why? Why is this redacted? See what I'm saying? It's going to create a lot of commotion in the Bigfoot world. See what I'm
Wow,
saying?
that
That
dark.
somebody's being
Richard,
prosecuted and going
yeah.
to jail for shooting one.
They're actually
Right.
putting us in a catch-22, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
The game warden I brought on my property. Okay, we was wanting to shoot that one to get him out of the top, have him follow my mom. Okay,
Mhm.
well, he told me straight up they have to be there if it's gonna be shot. Okay, they have to be here. Okay, now he also told me they were fairly protected. Okay, that comes straight out of his mouth, not mine. His. So we're told that these creatures don't exist. Well, if you shoot something that don't exist, then how can the law mess with you? But yet, game warden is telling me if I shoot it, it's a federal law against it. Basically, is what
Yeah.
he's telling me.
Well, and that's what
So
I'm saying. That's the soft disclosure.
catch-22 where you could go out and shoot this damn thing, and you're going to prison, even though they aren't supposed to exist.
Well, that's what
Well,
I'm saying. That's that soft disclosure. If they're going to the
Yeah.
extent that they're going to prosecute me for shooting one, well, then you're acknowledging that it exists.
Yeah.
If you're going to put it in a hunting,
acknowledged that to me.
yeah. If you're going to put it in a hunting regulation, you're acknowledging its existence. So
You got it.
there
And
is
Right.
and
that's a federal handbook that you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
money was spent by the government to put that out there.
Mhm.
So it is a soft disclosure. It's not them openly coming out saying yes, it's there. It's a soft disclosure. See what I'm saying? So yeah, it is out there. There are laws. There's multiple states with laws against shooting one of these things. Multiple. Some are just harass. Don't harass them. You know what I mean? It's just harassment
Hmm.
law. You know what I mean? So, like I said, those when I read those things, they're saying it exists. They're
Yeah.
saying it. You know?
Yeah, because it worried them enough, Richard, that they brought a drone onto the property and
Hmm.
Joe filmed the area I showed them. Literally brought a drone on our property without our permission
Hmm.
and filmed out there.
It's happened
If
to
I
me.
wouldn't have called it on footage, I wouldn't have never known about it. But I called it on footage. I seen the drone on my camera, so I know it was there. They're the only ones that knew about these creatures at the time, because that's when we first started dealing with this stuff. I didn't know nobody in the Bigfoot community, know nothing. I didn't know nothing about this thing. I'm coming in this totally blind. Cops wouldn't help. Only person would come over was that game warden, and that's when he told me everything he did. And then next thing you know, we got drones flying in our damn yard.
Hmm.
So to
It's
me,
happened to
Hmm.
they
me.
know. They know. They know. And to me, the federal government knows, and it puts you in that damn catch-22 situation where you shoot them, you're going to prison, and if you don't, you know, uh, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a no-win situation with it, no matter what.
I'm gonna say this. Even way back when I was younger, say 18, 19, 20 years old, you could go to just about any. What do we call them things? Military shops that you could buy handbooks, buy uniforms, boots, stuff like that. I forgot what you call them now, but you could go in there and I buy a daggum sniper handbook, and it tells about camouflage and everything. And it does say in there, even that's long ago, that if you run across any Bigfoot, not to shoot it, ignore it, let it get by you. Why would they put something like that in a sniper handbook back when I'm 20 something years old?
That's
That's
right.
what
I,
That
I'm
was in
saying.
there. Foreign
Those are the
engineers,
little
yeah.
soft disclosures. You know. Well, and here's the thing. Okay, and this is hypothetical because I'm not going to shoot one, but I have thought about what would I do, and you have to have a game plan. You have to know. You have to have a game plan. You can't just shoot one and not have a plan because you're going to get yourself caught. But really, in the end, you don't need the body. If you take a hand, a finger, or something like that, you can get a lot of information off that. You can get
yeah,
DNA,
DNA,
you can get
everything.
hair, you can get, you know, I can take a lot of photographs, open its mouth, whatever I need to do, and then leave. You know what I mean? Because they'll come to my house. Hey, did you shoot a Bigfoot? No, no, I didn't. Well, how come it's missing a finger? I don't know. You know what I
And
mean?
seeing right
You
Why,
there,
know?
why
see,
is
I
there blood
agree.
on your knife?
Right there, I agree with Mr. Lenny right there. But what game warden tells you is totally different than what Lenny's saying. See, we're being told two different things. The law's telling us one thing, and the federal government uh, enforcers are telling us another.
Well, that's what
Oh,
I'm
by the
saying.
way,
Is if
guys,
Well,
I
if
want
you
y'all to
take
make
me
sure
to
y'all
court,
welcome
you
Trackway on the show too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
so
Is if you take me to court under those laws, you have to now admit that it exists. You have
That's
to
right. That's
because
right.
you're going to
Right.
prosecute me for it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
But
the thing of it is whenever you go, like I said, when you go to court, there ain't gonna be nobody in that courtroom but the prosecutors, your attorney, you, and a judge and a bailiff and a court recorder. And there may not even be a court recorder because they probably don't want to record it in case somebody takes it to puts in a FOIA for those court records, because once a court case is over and done with, that is public information. And they can go in and get the court records, and even if the judge seals them, they can go to court and get them unsealed and get the records. But the thing of it is, once you go to court, if I've told people before, my plan, if I ever am confronted by one and it threatens me or my wife or someone with me, and I have to shoot to kill this creature, I'm going to find the easiest way to get my truck to close to that creature, get it into the truck, go into the middle of town, tie a rope around that thing's leg, take my license plates off of my pickup, and whatever I got to do, so nobody will know right off the bat that it's me. I'm going to throw a hook around the light post, and there's going to be a rope tied around that thing's leg, and I'm going to drive off. And when I drive off, I'm going to go find a hole and crawl in it for the next 10 to 15 years
Yep.
because they're going to come after me, period. There is
Yeah, see,
no
this
doubt in my
kind of
mind they're going to come after me.
and these kind of discussions, Icebox, you won't find this in a book.
Oh,
You
I
only
know.
go find this stuff in reality that people who deal with these creatures is how you go deal with this. Not in
Well,
a book.
that's why we do these kind of shows. I will tell you like this: I would be gathering pinkies, thumbs,
Whatever I can
heads,
put in my backpack.
whatever
That's right.
I'm allowed to put
Yeah.
in there. And my next phone call is going, "Hey, Mr. Athens, what you up to? Because we fixed to have
Well,
a trial going on. You know it is."
that's
Because
definitely who
Oh,
I've
I
yeah.
tried
am
I've
calling.
tried dragging 150-pound doe out of the woods, and that killed me. It was so hard. I'm not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
try to
Oh, I'm
get
not carrying the whole
a
thing.
5, 6, 700, 800-pound creature. I'm going to take what I can, bag it up, head out, maybe chill for a while, maybe a few
Mm.
months or a year before I come out. See what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm going to do what I can. I'm already. Here's how you beat it: is you go to the press first, before the
Yeah.
Yeah.
courts, before everything, so it's out
Yeah.
there.
First,
See what I'm saying? You say
my first. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. Go ahead.
My first call was going to be to a journalist over here that I know who does a lot of Bigfoot reports out here. That's the first person I'm going to call. So he come out here, take every damn picture he can actually think of. So that way it's documented. Then I'd call Mr. Lenny. You know,
Yeah.
I want that thing completely documented by outside source before I do anything else.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Trackway, what's your thoughts on all this?
Well, I was gonna jump in on the ice. I don't know. My personal feeling is, I am hunting, but I'm hunting with a camera. Um, I'm afraid if you shot one, I don't think these things are ever alone. So,
True.
you might be stirring up a hornet's nest, and you might be
Mm-hmm.
lucky to get away. I mean, you think about, if you shoot one, what was that old saying? You never shoot twice because then they can figure out where you're at, and that had to
Yep.
do with back in the Western days. So I don't know about that, but um, the eye shine part, that was
Hmm.
uh, something I wanted to hop in on because, and I apologize for sitting in the dark. I'm sitting out on the patio, but
Yeah, we can
uh,
see the eye shine.
yeah,
That's something
Mm-hmm.
it's
that's
it's the
right.
glasses eye shine. But no, my experience, that experience with the red and the yellow or the gold, and
Mm-hmm.
we were out hunting that night, and there was two harvests made. Um, I didn't harvest anything. I went back to the truck to get the 4-wheeler and the trailer, and went back out and met the guys who was out in the woods in the pitch black with nothing but their cell phone flashlights. I was the only one who had a spotlight on them. So once we got the harvest details all sorted out, and I got them on trail, and we found the harvest, I'm standing there holding the light for them. Then all of a sudden, I just get that you're being watched. And I spun around with the
Mm-hmm.
flashlight, and I nailed whatever it was with the spotlight. And all I got back was two about baseball, softball sized golden eyes that slowly rotated off and away. And the night that I had my experience, there was a red softball sized eye return as well. So it was the thing that got to me, eye shine returns. Uh, Barred owls return a red eye, and uh, what is it? The great horned owl returns gold. But that eye shine was so large, the only thing I could think of was like, okay, do their eye disc attribute it to making it larger than it actually is? Fortunately, I have a friend up in New England who was unfortunate enough to have a barred owl nesting outside their bedroom window while it was having its brood. And, I got talking with them. I'm like, hey, can you catch your barred owl footage? They have outdoor cameras. I want to see if that eye disc accentuates the eyes any. And they sent me a lot of that back, and we went back and forth on it, and the eye return from that owl was not a match. So that's been one thing that we've always found, or that I've always found interesting between the two. Then we had another incident with eye shine, but this eye shine was over in Pennsylvania. At the time when it happened and I saw it, I thought I saw a single eye going across, but later on, going through the material, going in review and digging in deeper, I didn't have one eye. I had two small eyes next to each other. And it ended up being a bird that I got excited about moving about in the trees. But that was the only thing I really had to like throw out for the eye shine part of it was, that size, much larger than what you would expect. And I do not have reason to believe whatsoever that that's an owl and that the eye disc is causing any kind of amplification of that eye shine.
Well, let me ask y'all a question. We'll get back on another subject here in just a minute. How is one to? That's what we're doing. We're doing discussions, trying to learn here. Uh, how do you distinguish that it is a Bigfoot or assumed Bigfoot over everything else we've talked about? Raccoons, deer, barn owls, on and on. How can you distinguish with that it could be a Bigfoot? That's the reason I'm kind of doing this little series is you hear footsteps, now you're talking about eyesight. These are all things that we're assuming that are associated with a Bigfoot. So how would we distinguish that from other animals? What is the indications? You know what I mean?
I
Can
would say
anybody answer?
I would say the spread of the eyes for
Well,
one, and the height of it.
yeah, I mean, you have that, but I think it's going to take an accumulation of all the evidence that's going on at the
Yeah.
same time. What are
Right.
you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you have to bring it all in, you know, um, you know, yeah, you got width of eyes, um, but in height, but it could be in a tree, you know what I mean? Or it could be, two critters, you take the all evidence,
Yeah.
you know try to document as much as you can. Like when we had the eye shine, we were documenting vocalizations at the exact same time. uh, um, we could hear movement in the woods. We heard branches breaking. And there was accumulation of a lot of information for us to better understand what we were dealing with at that moment, not just eye shine or anything like that, but the accumulation of all the information.
Looking for
Right.
secondary supports.
That's right.
Yeah. That's the same as when we were out to my buddy's place and I saw the green eye shine. You could see the upper portion of the creature because it was standing there and it was moving around. It turned and walked and all that. And my buddy is sitting there right beside me and he's looking out through there. He never saw the green eyes. He just saw the movement of the creature and he's like, yeah, there's one there. He just nonchalant about it. But it was the combination of the green eye shine and then seeing all the relating, you know, head, shoulders, it turning, it moving, it walking, and all that together before I said, yeah, that's a Bigfoot. And my buddy just looked at me and said, yeah, that's another one. Yeah. I wish they'd leave and not bug me. And of course, my wife was sitting there going, Can I get up and turn around and look at it? And I knew as soon as she'd go to move, this creature was going to take off. And she grabbed the arm of her chair. As soon as she grabbed the arm of her chair to turn, that creature went up and over the top on the other side of that hill. And she never got to see it. But the two of us saw it.
Yeah,
So,
it's always
it
good.
takes all that information.
Yeah, I agree. And when we had
one
our
other thing,
encounters,
Richard. Yeah, go ahead.
what I was saying is, yeah, like what Trackway was saying is, if you have other people that can verify they were there and you know what I mean. Like when we had
Mm-hmm.
that encounter where we were surrounded, there were 5 of us there, all researchers, all investigating what was going on and stuff like that. Um, at least 3 of us were out, in the woods, looking around and stuff. Um, that adds your credibility when there's other people to say, hey, yeah, But
Mm-hmm.
what made it viable, especially in my video, is you can hear it. You hear it. You know what I mean? So everything I say is backed up with the video. You know what I mean? So you
Right.
have to have everything documented. Because the great thing about film is it's a non-biased third party. You
Hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to say it this way, and that's why I'm kind of bringing these subjects up one at a time, for accumulation of people that are out hunting these things or out in the woods. I'm gonna say this much, and I don't mean nothing by this, and this guy know who I'm talking about. Uh, just because you hear a whistle doesn't mean you need to leave.
That's
You know,
right.
Right.
you
Right.
need a more accumulation of, because you can understand what we're trying to get at. It could be anything, and you're not going down what I call, uh, your analyzation of the situation. If you
Right.
see eye shine, is it a Bigfoot? What will be more of an indication that it is a Bigfoot? Um, and I agree with you guys. It needs more secondary information. One, are you out actually looking for one? Are you in an area that
Mm-hmm.
they've been known to be in? Are you having smells? Are you having, uh, because I've heard birds at night out here at my place that would sound like a whistle that a Bigfoot would make,
Yeah.
at night. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it often goes back to the eye shine, the smell. The smells is off. I've smelt them. I'm just going to say that I have. I know I have, and it's odd. It's an odd smell. It doesn't. It's not like a skunk, or it's similar, but it's not like a skunk smell and all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well,
I see eye shine with those two things together, it indicates okay, there's a Bigfoot around. Uh, Now's the time for some safety, especially if you've got your loved one with you or something like that. Or if you're by yourself, it might be time for you to get out of the woods, unless you want to
like
have that.
Right.
And there's
Well.
also perception of what we're looking at, I thought. If you look
Yeah,
over
Mm-hmm.
my shoulder, right there,
yeah, I see
right,
it.
right there. See,
I
I
see the
kind
light.
of through footage through my camera, I could say, "Hey, that's Einstein behind me,"
Yeah.
Mhm.
but I'd be lying because that's the damn moon. Don't look like the
Mm-hmm.
moon, look like I shine behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So perception is a lot to go with it as well. You got to make
Right.
sure what you're looking at before you just throw it out there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's you brought up an interesting point about the smells, and um, how many here have like for me, I smell it's the smell of hot garbage
Mm-hmm.
out in the
Mm-hmm.
wood, and then the other one was the smell of rotting feet. I never did understand. Now I was told there's a skunk cabbage or something out where I was at that time. That might have been, but it would go away and it'd come back and it'd go away and it'd come back. And I just wondered,
Mm-hmm.
how would you describe the smells that you smell?
Me personally,
Yeah.
it's kind of musky. I'm gonna go that far. And it's not it wasn't what I call an off-putting smell to me. It wasn't like, just rotten ass garbage or something like that. It was just a strong odor, but it was more musky type. But it stunk. If you've ever smelt a skunk, for sure, everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you have, it's very strong, but let's put it this way: They take skunk and make it into perfume. I mean, that's what they used to do. I don't know if they're still doing it now, but that's what they used to do because it lasted so long. You know what I mean? That's why they
Mhm.
use that spray. But I'm just saying the smell itself is odd. It's very odd. I mean, I've
Mhm.
been around garbage. I've been to dumps. I've been to. I mean, I haul equipment to these places, so I know what rotten garbage smells like, and it doesn't smell anything like that to me,
Hmm.
or at least this particular. Okay, let's say just this particular instance did not smell like garbage. It was just a. It wasn't what I call was off-putting. It wasn't something that you go, oh, geez, like you're smelling a sewer line or something. It wasn't like that. It was just a strong, different kind of a smell. Once you smell it, if you ever smell it again, you'll know it right off the bat. You know,
Mhm.
it's very hard to mistake this particular smell.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, guys, but I've got to get off here. I got to get up super early. Uh, it's been fun. I appreciate bringing me on, Icebox and Richard. Thank you guys for letting me come on tonight. But I have got to get off here and get to bed.
Yeah,
I
well,
got to
your
Hey,
get
work.
no
up
problem.
early.
Good to
Bear,
see
you
you.
take care, buddy. Stay safe on
All
the
right,
road.
man.
Be careful,
Oh,
bud.
I will. We'll see you guys. Bye bye.
Good night, bye bye.
Now, what I can say about smell is every encounter that I've had, I've never smelled anything. But I've had smells when I'm out researching, you know what I mean, and not
Hmm.
have an encounter. I just smelt something, and what I smelt like really, really pungent body odor, just that really heavy smell of body odor, just a really raunchy smell. And I've smelt that a couple of times in the woods. But the thing is as an investigator, when I smell it, I start looking, I start walking around, I start saying, okay, what could this be, and stuff like that. Because there's so many animals that do give off a smell. Bears give off a bad smell.
Mhm.
Um, Hogs give off a smell, stuff like that. So you
Deer and
and
Ursula.
that's why, yeah, I encourage people when you're having these incidences of little things, you know, don't leave. Try to investigate as much as you can. You know what I mean? And I did. I searched and
Yeah,
searched
yeah.
until I didn't smell it anymore. It just dissipated. It was gone. And I didn't smell it when I first came through the area. I was actually going back, and I was going back through that same area to head back to my truck, and that's when I got this smell. So I stopped immediately, because wherever you smell, you want to stop, because that's where you smelt it, and start taking in your environment on where you think it might be coming from, what direction the wind's coming from, stuff like that. And but it dissipated, so I really couldn't figure out what it was, or anything like that. But like I said, the encounters that I've had, I never smelt anything at all.
I've only
And
smelt
I have my
twice
theory on the
that
smell.
smell. Yep, I've only smelt
Yeah.
that smell twice. Both of them being the same smell, with rotten
Hmm.
flesh. One first time I ever smelt it was in North Georgia, over around LJ.
Mhm.
Second time, me and my brother was going to corn up the tree stand, and we come across this rotten flesh smell, just like over in North Georgia. We went looking around for this smell because it had to be close. Whatever it was close because it really, it was a nasty, nasty smell. Couldn't never find nothing that was dead around there. So we went in and corned up the stand, come back out, and that rotten flesh smell was completely gone. Completely gone. Did not smell it nowhere around that area. We smelled it coming into the tree stand area.
Yeah.
So I
I,
couldn't tell you what it was. Oh, I know it was a rotten flesh smell. Just rotten. I mean,
yeah.
rotten.
Hmm.
I have two theories, and they really coincide with each other. Two theories on the smell itself. It could be both, or it could be one or the other. Um, but and gorillas are a prime example, because gorillas have a gland on the back of their neck that they can excrete a smell. I think possibly, and it could be male or female, because it works with either one, because we won't know unless we have, like I said, a study of it. but I think the smell was done on purpose. I don't think they smell like that 24/7 because there's a
No.
lot of incidences where people see this thing and don't smell anything. So it's either
Hmm.
a smell that says, "Hey, I'm a dominant male. This is my area. Leave. Go away." Like a skunk. Skunk will spray to say, "Get the hell away from me." Or, and it could be both, it's a, "Hey ladies, I'm here. It's that time of the season. Let's make some Bigfoot babies." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it could be the females. The females could be the females doing it, giving off the smell, saying, "Hey, I'm in heat. Come look for me." You know what I mean? Because dogs do it. Dogs can smell when another dog is in heat.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I think it could be both, or it's used for both scenarios and stuff like that. But I think they can shut it off. I think they can not have a smell other than just a regular body odor smell or something like that, because of course they're out in the wild. But I think for the most part, if you smell it, it's going to be one of those two options. "Hey, get out of my area. I'm here, or I'm watching you. I know you're here." Or, "Hey, ladies, let's get together."
Well, I will say
I
this
get the
about
opposite effect. I get the opposite effect when I fart. All of a sudden, the ladies don't come near me.
well, now I say that now. I know you were saying that as a funny joke, but that kind of like gas. Uh, what you ate, I don't see that would permeate the air as much as say something like like you just said, gas. Uh, could have been something that they just smell. Could it be a gland? As far as the smell goes itself, and even when I smelt it, and my wife has smelt it, and it's the same odor. I mean, I've sat there in the campground going like this right here, and I smell it, and I know it's around. It's faint, and it goes away, uh, usually within like 20 to 30 seconds or something like that. I have smelt it a little bit longer, but I mean that time it was a little faint. Uh, I don't think that it's breath, is what I'm trying to get at. I think it's
Mm-mm.
either gas
No, no, I don't
or
think
it
it's
could
breath.
be, yeah, I think that it could be something that it needs a shower or a bath that needs to take a trip to the creek. I don't know where and what kind of smell this is. Uh, and the gland, until you, like you said, until we finally get information that we can study one and find a gland, okay, I can understand that. But I also do feel like you said, it could be a mating type deal. It might not be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it is a mating, but it is something that. Well, I can't say that honestly, Richard. I'm gonna be honest with you about that. It could be a
Well,
mating thing. It could be
yeah,
attracted to
because
something, another female, and I'm talking about of the
yeah,
human
because
kind.
smell
It could.
travels a long distance.
It does.
Smell travels a long distance. I mean, they say a bear can smell you in the woods from a mile away. So smell
Oh yeah.
travels. And I think if they're looking for something, or, to get a little frisky with the lady friends, I think it's just my theory. Like I said, I'm no expert or anything like that. And what I say, it is just what it is. But it just makes sense that they would give off a smell to say, "Hey, I'm here." And then maybe that's why at night we get more vocals in certain seasons, because maybe it's a breeding season. They're giving off the smell. They're hooting and hollering, saying, "Hey, I'm full of testosterone, ladies. I need somebody right now." You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? But again, like I said, it's going to take a lot of study to get the answer. That's why we research, because we got all
Hmm.
these theories, but we're trying to find the answers. We're trying to find
Yeah.
the truth.
Yep. And
Oh,
my theory on what I was smelling out here in North Georgia, it's just it was probably eating rotten food. Because they got a hell of a digestive system. They can
right.
digest rotten food. And I believe he had that smell of rotten food, rotten animal on him. And that's what we were smelling. Cause I mean, it wasn't nothing like these gorilla pheromone chips you smell, which is really pungent. It wasn't a urine smell.
Yeah.
Uh, it wasn't what Richard was describing, which I totally agree with him on that. But this was a straight up rotten animal smell, like
Mm.
I'm gonna be a little harsh here, like animal popped on the side of the highway. Y'all know the
Yeah.
smell I'm talking about.
Oh, guts,
Uh,
entrails.
yeah,
And it could be.
and
There could been an animal that got killed and is rotting somewhere out there.
yeah. Well,
But
what
that's
I'm
where the
saying is,
investigation comes in.
yeah, we went looking for that rotten smell, and never could find it. And once
Hmm.
we come back out of the tree stand, that smell was gone. So I'm figuring it probably had that smell on it if it was one, and when we come out, it was gone because that smell was no longer there.
You know,
And
that's
'cause
a
we
good
could have smelled it. I mean, that smell was so bad. If it was a dead animal right there, that smell would have still been there when we come out.
Hmm.
that's a good point, Flat Rock, because I didn't think about it till just now that if you've ever had a harvest that was gassed,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
meaning the inside got gassed out and you cleaned it out, that permeates your skin
Yep.
and you
Yep.
cannot get rid of that.
That's right. That's right.
Never
Well,
thought about that.
I'm gonna
and
say
this is
this.
something that's more icebox his expertise. I've been out there and had rotten smells. I was like, oh my god, it's nasty. And I
Yeah.
investigated, and it was a plant. It was a plant that was
Mhm.
dying. It was
Mhm.
you know decomposing, but it was a plant. And when I got close to it, oh, it reeked. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, So
Mhm.
certain plants will even give off a smell as it
Yes,
Oh
they
yeah.
decomposes.
will. Yes, they will.
Well, I'm gonna say two things here on smells. Everybody knows what a dog smell is. You
Yeah.
know, you smell a wet dog. If a dog needs a bath, you smell
Yep.
what a
They're
dog
not
smells
talking
like.
about you,
That's
rascal.
right.
They're not talking about you,
Yeah.
rascal.
Yes, we are rascals. Don't let them kid you. All right, but here's the thing. All right, I went up to Salt Fork and I got there on a Saturday, and some things had already went on and happened. And no sooner I got there, this couple pulled me aside and said, "Hey man, come up here to our tent." I said, "Okay, what am I coming up there for?" And they said, "We would see what you could find out." And when we got close to the tent, they said, "We think one was sitting here last night." And when I got close to where this matted, I don't know what kind of plant it was, but it was long stem, yada yada, and it was flattened down. And I got it within like 4 or 5 feet of it. I could smell it. I'm like, what is that smell? And it was an odd smell because, trust me, guys, uh, I'm a herbalist, let's call it that. And I'm not talking about the other kind, but I use fine plants for old time medicines and such like that. Uh, so I know plants pretty well. I know the smells of them. But anyways, when I got that close, and this was an odd smell, and it was strong. It wasn't. You couldn't smell it until you got close. But when you got close to where this matted spot was at, it just hits you in the face, just about knock you down. But it wasn't like I said, where you just, oh, good grief. But you could smell something odd in this particular smell. That's why I say when I go to Salt Fork, that smell comes and hits me every now and then. And I know that smell as soon as I smell it. I'm like, there's one around here somewhere. It may be upwind of us. Yeah, and you know how air currents do in hills and such like that. It may come from this way and it could have air circulation could, and it could be over here on the other side of you somewhere. But that's what I'm saying. The Bigfoot smell is different up there. Okay. I'm just going to say up there. I know when they're around. My wife even knows this smell. Bear tell you this smell. Uh, but when you talking about like Florida, it could be a different smell. They might roll in that and dead
Well,
animal like
yeah,
dogs do.
because I spent a lot of time in the swamps. Swamps stink.
Yeah,
Swamps have an odor. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? There's a lot of odors in the Florida swamps and stuff like that. Um, so you get accustomed to and you know certain things and stuff like that. You're waiting for that
Yeah.
one thing that pops up that's not normal. Okay, this isn't something I'm accustomed to. See what I'm saying? Um, those are the smells you look for. And like I said, it's just a smell until you investigate and you try to figure out. Like I said, I smelt that smell, never could figure out what it was. Got back to my truck and just racked it up as I smelled something. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't know what it was, what caused it, or anything like that. I just had an experience with some
All right.
smells.
All right, let me ask you all this question, and I really do need to smoke a cigarette because we're gonna get off here in just a little bit. Uh, why is it you might see a Bigfoot, you might hear a Bigfoot, but you have no smell? Why is it at particular times some have smells and some do not? What are your opinions on that? I'll be right back.
That is a
Like I said,
hard
I
one.
think it's on purpose. No, I
Yeah.
think it's on purpose. Like I said, I've had encounters that I didn't smell anything because why would you want to give off a smell at that point? If you're not in fear or not trying to show your dominance like a skunk would and smell to get people out of the area, and you're not looking for a female, you're just coming in because you're investigating something. You're
Yeah,
investigating something. The Bigfoot wants to come into camp. He wants to see what you're doing and stuff. Why smell? Why give up my position? See what I'm saying?
I understand that, Richard. I do. 100%. I even agree with you on that. But there's a something else there. Now, these critters are out in the woods, um, unless they're bathing out in the creeks and the rivers. They can have some kind of smell to them, some type of smell, from the wet dog, the rotten flesh, the whatever. The plant. Another thing, before they killed my brother's dog, he was coming home with this green stuff all over his body. He was a solid white dog with a couple of black spots on him, but he'd come back with this green muck all over him, all over him, from head to toe. Okay, smelt bad. Um, they should have some type of smell. And going back to what you were saying, I agree. Now, I had this little small encounter. It wasn't small to me, but it was a small encounter. I was at somebody's house up in North Alabama, sitting at a picnic table, and something come real close to me and started heavy breathing right behind my back. I thought it was coming off the phone because we was on a Zoom call at the time, and never
Hey, I
smell a
got to mute.
thing.
Y'all keep
Not
going.
the first instant.
I got work. I got work calling.
All right,
So
Bubba. All right, Richard, we'll see you, brother. But anyway, not the first smell did I smell whatsoever. And it was close to me, but nothing. Not the first whiff of something behind me. And that's why I'm saying it's a hard question to answer. It is. I mean, we can say what our thoughts are and opinions are, yeah. And
I
we can agree with them.
I
But
agree with you,
yeah,
Flat Rock.
I mean, it's just I just don't know where it's coming from. How they can have a smell 1 second and that smell be totally gone the next. I understand the pheromone smells that we're talking about, but to come up behind somebody real close and not have that first whiff of any kind of smell, even the wood smell, is mind blowing to me, and that's just something I can't explain. When they come up on you and you don't smell the first thing, but there's other times you smell it, but in some ways you don't.
All right, let me
I
let
can
me say
explain.
let me say this. I've been out with Bear. I've been out with other folks too. Um, I don't think that when they try to come up and get curious and checking you out, I don't think they just put off that smell. I don't
Right.
think they can control it, or I say control it. I'm
Oh,
just
I
saying
think they
there's
can
times,
control it.
yeah, in a sense,
Yeah.
it's just like let me put it back up there, like Blue Eyed said, uh, and that's why I do these shows so you get different opinions. Could the oils from their skin or their hair pick up what they have eaten or rolled in? We all know my dogs will. They'll roll in a dead animal in a heartbeat, uh, and they'll pick up that smell. But I'll tell you, the smell that I smelled was not of a dead animal. Now, that doesn't mean that Bigfoot doesn't smell like a dead animal, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this particular area, this particular spot, uh, when you smell it, it's undeniable, and you can't mistake it. Let's put it that way. But I don't think that when I'm out here, when I was out there in the woods and such, when I seen my Bigfoot and everything, I smelled nothing. And I had to think, of course, I'm in a trailer, but I'll come out right after it did. When it left, I never did smell anything. And I don't think just because they got curious and they're getting close and they're seeing what's going on that they're going to start putting off the smell, is what I'm getting at. I don't know
yeah,
if
I
it's a
like I said, I
voluntary
think they
thing.
can control it. Yeah, I think they can control it.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's probably it could be a multiple things. It could be granted. There's a part where they're dirty animals because they're not showering every day like we do. So I think if you were close to one, face to face, you would probably smell something. But I think it's a separate smell. I think it's a different smell. I think the other one is, like I said, either a um, way of saying, get away from me, get out of my area, or a mating thing. I think they're separate. I think regular body odor, just like I said, when I smelt that smell, it smelled like just pungent body odor. It may not have been the excretion of a smell. It could have been just its natural body odor of something that was fairly close to me. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, when I had the encounters in my, literally outside of my tent, I didn't smell anything. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I came out of my tent. I walked around, light and everything else, um, smelt nothing. See what I'm saying? And whatever it was bipedal. Whatever it
Yep.
was tall enough to rub the roof of my tent. And my tent's 6.5 feet tall. You know what I mean? But I didn't smell anything.
Yep.
I I have
Here's
to.
another one. Go ahead. Go ahead, Trackway. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the night that I saw the one on thermal go behind the truck, there was no smell, and I'm pretty sure it was in the area. And I've got, you know, uh, once I'm out in the woods, I got a pretty good um, feel for what's going on in the woods around me. But there was no smell that night. And then the night that, back in 29 October 2022, whatever that was, that night, there was no smell in the air. But it just occasionally, you get one every now and then. Like I said, it's the trip out in Washington. There was a recurring smell of rotten feet, and that might have been that skunk cabbage or whatever they're talking about out there. And I just thought it was really odd. The smell that and where it came from when we was at Salt Fork uh, just caught me off guard. So it was coming from down the hill. Which didn't make any sense.
Yep.
Or
Now
from
this. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Trackway.
uh,
Sorry, buddy.
that's all I had.
There's another
Well, when
instance
we think about
here.
it, if yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, Flat Rock.
Okay. There was another instant here when Pat, Joe, Bud, Angie, and I believe Jody was here, and we all just come back from Talladega National Forest that day. They set the trailer up, both of them. We just sitting around a table. Uh, Bud, he was telling me, yo, he was going to test my dog. Because I've been noticing my dog will go to the tree line, just start barking and growling. And I got the notion that, yeah, he was growling and barking at these creatures. Now, he wouldn't never bark at a cat, walk right in front of him, wouldn't bark at him. Wouldn't bark at another dog, wouldn't bark at a deer, won't bark at a coon or a possum. But anyway, Bud said he was going to test Boo out. They come over within 3 hours. Boo's found ass asleep on the ground, and next thing you know, he comes up out of the blues, goes over to the fence line, and he's like pointing, and then he starts barking and growling. Well, Bud he picks up his thermal, starts following Boo. Angie picks up the night vision. She starts looking around at night vision and we're not smelling a thing, not smelling nothing. And this was no more than 20 feet away from us, 25 feet away from us. And that's the night Bud caught something jumping back in behind a tree on his thermal. And the night Angie had her first viewing of a creature.
Hmm.
And but no, not a smell. And this thing was within 25 feet from us. Well, I believe there was two of them, one that Bud caught and the other one that Angie caught. But the only one that smelt it
I'll be right back.
was my dog. The only one to smell it was my dog. Because I mean, because their senses are a lot stronger than ours, of course. But you know, that tells me, maybe,
Well, you can ask yourself.
yeah.
You can go to a kindergartner and
Mm-hmm.
say, what is the stinkiest animal in nature? What
Mm-hmm.
is the one thing that just we know stinks?
Yep.
It's a skunk.
Yep.
It's notorious. That's the
Notorious.
first thing you say about a skunk is it stinks.
Yep.
but it doesn't stink all the time.
Nope.
You can have a skunk walk right in front of you and you don't smell anything until it's either in fear or something like that. But then think about it. What if you had a 500-pound skunk and it sprayed? You know what I mean? It would be pretty pungent. So you're looking at an animal that we all estimate anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds, let's say.
Yep.
Um, and if in my theory, if it can controls it and it exudes this smell when it wants to, or needs to, it would be very pungent.
Yep.
I mean, it's a large animal, it'd be very pungent.
Yep.
So,
But
but like I said,
there's
there's a
also.
lot of
Go ahead, bud.
there's a lot of cases out there where people, give their testimony and there's no smell.
Yeah. Well, there's also something else, Richard, and you'll probably agree with this. Not only are you smelling it, okay, up close now, I'm talking within 25 feet of you. Not only are you smelling it, you're not even hearing it walk up.
Oh yeah.
Even through crunchy leaves and dry sticks all over the ground, you still don't hear this thing walk up as big as it is. You do not hear this thing come up unless they want you to know they're coming up on you.
Well, let's put it
Yeah,
this
I
way.
absolutely agree.
I will say it like this.
Go ahead, Isaac.
I was watching. It was either Richard's show last night or something that we was talking about, and it could have been me and Flat Rock talking last night. I don't know, but it was like a bear that could be 10 feet within you, and you never see it, never
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah,
Was it on your show,
I
Richard?
brought that up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I brought that up where I was with the FWC guy, and we were scaring a bear out of an area.
yeah.
That was what we were there for. So we had whistles and clapping our hands and stuff like that. He literally told me, "Hey, I just saw it. It's heading towards you." And he was less than 50 yards away from me when he yelled that to me. So I stopped and waited for this thing to come across. It literally passed me and put its head up over a bush to look at me, and I never saw it walk in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never saw it,
Never heard it.
and I never heard it. They can large animals. Remember, this is their environment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're the clumsy ones. We're the retards in the woods that stepping on things, tripping over ourselves. We're wearing deodorant, we're smoking cigarettes, we're smoking
hmm
cigar, whatever people do. We're listening to music, whatever. We're the retards in that area. See what I'm saying? So all the animals out there are definitely smarter than us out there, and if they want to avoid us, they can avoid us.
Mm-hmm.
I use the smallest animal out there, which is squirrels. I used to hunt squirrels. I'd
Right.
see a squirrel in a tree, go to shoot him, and that sucker will hide from me, and I'll never see him in that tree again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're smart.
yeah.
They know their environment way better than we do.
All right, I got another question. And by the way, hey, Miss Hillary, glad to see you, hon. Uh, Blue Eye said something that kind of makes me question something too. So why are they attached to females? It, I don't know. I'm attached to females.
Define females. Are you talking about human
What
females
human
or
females?
Bigfoot
Yeah.
females?
Well, I'm attached to human females too, so I can't blame them. So I'm not going to say nothing else about that. But I'm just going to say this: that one that we smelled that the guy took me up to his tent. Um, there he did have a wife there, and I've done what I call somewhat of a investigation, and I was thinking skunk plant. I can't even think the name of it right now, but what do they call that? What's the word I'm looking for? Geez, I can't even think of it right now, but I'll
Skunk
probably
cabbage.
think skunk. There you go. Thank you, Trackway. Skunk cabbage. And I'm saying, is there any in the area? No, there's none in the area. So I mean, when you smell something, there needs to be a diligent investigation of, what I'm saying, to figure out what that smell particularly is. Now, do they put off a more of a smell when they are attracted to a female, a human female, or a Bigfoot one, for all that matters? Do they actually put out a different smell?
Well, like I said, that's something that's impossible to answer without long-term study of how they excrete due to female human or female Bigfoot. But I think if they are attracted to human females, it could be a pheromone thing. I mean, they just Dogs smell fear, due to the pheromones you're giving off and stuff like that. Men usually walk in the woods with a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It takes more to put fear into a man than it would be a woman. If a woman goes out there, she has that apprehensive feeling. She's a little uneasy. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying scared, but a
Yeah.
little uneasy, a little more. She might be giving off a different pheromone than a man is. See what I'm saying? Maybe they pick up on that. I don't know. Like I said, everything's a theory until it's not. So I don't
Well,
know.
Yeah,
let
that's
me
why
ask you this.
we've been running a little project over here every time they come over every year. Um, with they want to go out there by themselves and see if these creatures actually get more active around just women, not men, just women. Men would stay here. Women would go out there in
What
the
is?
woods. Have their
Get out of
cameras and
here!
recorders right there with them,
Yeah.
and it just seemed like they were getting more activity when it was just women than when men and women walked in there or just men walked in there. The women was getting that little bit more activity
Mm-hmm.
when they were by themselves. Kind of like with my mom, with that one following my mom around. Men were here too,
Mm-hmm.
after the initial stuff that was going on, but that thing was always following my mom. He wouldn't follow us. I mean, he would be around our trailer. That's how I caught the eyeshine footage out my window and the trail cam picture of when me and my pastor come out and a few other photos I got and film. But it just seemed like in somewhat they get more of that little bit more active when it's just strictly women. Now, it's only been 3 or 4 times that we've done this, but out of those 3 and 4 times, them women folk got the activity when they were just women and not when women and men.
Yeah, I
Well,
apologize for that. I had a raccoon right underneath my window here chirping at me.
Yeah. I mean, I have a theory on that flat rock.
Mhm.
I really don't want to go into that because I don't want to piss people
I
off. But
got you. Hey, I got you.
going to
I
what,
got you, Bubba.
yeah, I'm just saying, I don't want women to hate me right now. But with what BF Bud said, about women's menstrual cycle, we actually went out one time with one guy that brought all his wife's pads because she was on that cycle,
Yeah.
and we did hang those up, put them in places, and we got nothing. I mean, we didn't get anything. We didn't have any activity or anything like that. So I don't know. But like I said, pheromones is a strong thing. All animals use it and stuff like that. Um, I mean, even there's perfume companies that use human pheromones in their perfumes and
Yep.
colognes
mm-hmm.
to hope, so you can attract more women or whatever
Yep.
or more
Yep.
men. So it's a real thing. Pheromones is a real
Yep.
thing. So
Well, I'm going to say this. Why is it that certain smells that a man can wear cologne wise or whatever, they get attraction from a female Bigfoot? I've heard of stories of such as that. Uh, I feel like there might, and you can't hear or smell it. That that's another topic. Let's put it that way. But I have heard that females will get attracted to certain colognes and such. Why is that?
I haven't heard that, but
Uh,
I mean, you'd have to see it to say, yeah, it's a female, or versus a male. But um, I think anything, if you smell something that you're not accustomed to,
Yep.
you're interested to check it out and
Yeah.
find out what it is.
Gotta be a
You know what
year
I
over
mean? If
year
somebody goes out
project. Yep.
there,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, if you're out there, I'm wearing a heavy, cologne, and I'm giving off that smell of cologne, and would that attract something that smells it and says, "Oh, I wonder what that is. I smell that," and they come and check me out, and oh, it's a person.
Yep.
Um, don't know, but as far as it being distinctive, attracting a female over a male, I've never heard that. I don't know. I mean, it
uh,
would have to be a
Well,
good study on that.
well, like I
Because
said,
if there's a cologne that will bring them out, I'll wear it.
I got it.
I'm partial to
I've got
bacon
it.
strips, bacon strips.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's put it this
I'll
way.
say. Let me say this, boss, real quick.
Yeah.
Uh, After the first time that Miss Pat and Angie and them they done their thing by themselves. Okay, uh, that's when Miss Pat asked me that question. Do you think women get more activity? And that was quite a few years ago when she asked me that.
Hmm.
And I couldn't really answer that question because it was a one-time thing. Now we've done it multiple times, and it seems like the same thing's happening when women going out there by themselves. It seems like they're drawn into them women.
Hmm.
Now when we're all together, we're not getting much, and so it's been
Yeah.
a multi-year thing, and we'll probably do it again this year. I'm sure we will, and
Yeah.
see what happens again, and try to make a conclusion of this. Being 3 or 4 straight years that these creatures are doing the same exact thing, and give it some kind of answer to it. You know what I'm saying?
See that
True.
Right.
we used to have a running joke about a tent that I would marinate in bacon grease and then
Yeah.
garnish with bacon strips all around it. Well, whatever occurred there at Salt Fork, my first trip before I ran into you guys, um, there was a good bit of laughter because I had a pocket full of my dog's bacon treats in my pocket when that all went down. And so the person I used to jibe, Jen, about, using that tent, um, yeah, she's like, yeah, you baconed yourself, didn't you? And I'm like, oh, you got a point. I didn't even think about it.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't go the bacon route. I mean, it's fine. It's a great idea, and I should incorporate it. But whenever people talk about bacon, I think dogs, and you know how this community is. They'll bring up dog man. That's when I tell them, I'll go to the store, get
Yeah.
me a big
Well,
old box of Scooby Doo snacks, and we'll take care of that. You know what I mean?
well, Joanne made the comment. She goes, she loves bacon grease,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'll wear bacon grease.
yeah,
Hey, Joanne.
yeah.
I got a whole tub of it in the refrigerator.
I'll wear some bacon grease.
All right, guys, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. I am not sitting on here for six and a half hours,
Come
Richard.
on, we gotta
Uh,
beat Richard's
I
record.
had let's talk about that for a second. Does anybody? I we had such a blast last night. Okay, and yeah, the show lasted 6.5 hours. So if anybody goes to watch the show, it's one of those things you just put it in your ear and listen to it while you're doing something or mowing the lawn or whatever. But we had a blast, and when you're having so much fun, it's a Saturday night. None of us had to work. We had no place to go. We just kept going. That's it. We didn't care if there was anybody in the chat room or watching the show at that time or
yeah,
anything like that. But those things happen. I felt like I was a Sean Ryan show, and I had a 5 6 hour show. But it was so much fun. Marion Gant was a great guest, and she's such a sweetheart. And my co-host, he's a lot of fun, and we had a lot of conversation. It's like this, just a conversation.
yeah.
And so I'm just warning everybody: if you see it and it's 6.5 hours, I told them at the end of the show, I said nobody's going to watch it. It's too
It's
long,
too long.
you know. But we couldn't help it. We couldn't. We were just having so much
The
fun.
kind of
So
conversations you cannot find in a book,
Mhm.
and
right.
that's why I like it so damn much. Because you can't find this kind of talk in a book.
All right. They were wanting us to stay on. Uh, I tell you what, we'll go another 30 minutes. That's about as far as I can go. I have got to get into bed. I did have a nap tonight or today, so I'm okay. But if you guys want to go another 30 minutes, that's what we'll do. And, hey, you got to give the audience what they want. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all want to go another
Yeah.
30, pick a
I'm
subject. Let's
good.
go.
Oh, you know me. I'm always up for a discussion on this topic. So when you're passionate about something, you can just
Oh, I know. I
talk
know.
about it
Yeah.
all the time
Give
and
me a
stuff
Well,
like
couple
that.
minutes. I'll be right back.
all right, do so, and I'm gonna do the same thing when you get back. Uh,
Yeah.
information like this is hard to come by. Let's put it that way. A lot of times it takes experience and listening to others and listening to their stories. And that's why I tell people, what little bit of information that you put out there, they go, well, my sighting wasn't this or my sighting wasn't that, all dramatic and all. Who cares? You're building up your computer data into your brain. When I do interviews, you know, that little bit of what knowledge you may think is, not so a big deal, and it adds. That's why I don't care who you are, come on the show and we'll talk about it, you know. So, we've started out with
Oh,
eyeshine and look at where we're at now.
yeah, that's the great thing about the subject because it does. It's all intertwined.
Yeah.
There's so many angles with this subject and what's going on with the subject and stuff like that. We talked about protecting and we talked about disclosure and we talked about that's just the nature of this subject. You know.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna kick y'all back off over to smells. And if y'all
Okay.
want to drift off somewhere else, go right ahead. Uh, Hang on a second.
Well, one of the things I always hit on is research. I'm a researcher. I'm not that's I go in things as a forensic point of view. I need to see it, touch it, record it, measure it, smell it. It's got to be forensic based, and that's what I lean towards and stuff like that. So when I talk to different people and I talk to other researchers, or especially on the show and stuff like that, I'm very big on document, document, document. Get as much information as you can,
Mm-hmm.
because I think what the most frustrating thing is, and it happens a lot with other researchers as well, not just the general public, but all these accounts, all of them, but there's no hard evidence behind it. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We need to get better at that. We need to get, especially researchers themselves, people that are investigators that are out there doing this thing. We need to get better at documenting and writing everything down, and always filming, always running audio, doing the things that you could bring that hard forensic evidence to the table. See what I'm saying? Because I know there's a lot of people that get into the metaphysical part of this, but the problem with that is it's no way to prove it.
Right.
It's impossible to prove anything paranormal or metaphysical. It's just impossible. So I stay away from that because, like I said, it's an impossibility. And a good friend of mine, Brian Darcy, made that comment one time. He said,
Oh,
if Bigfoot is paranormal, we're never going to prove it. We're
huh.
never going to prove the existence
Right.
of Bigfoot. So we have to stick towards what we know and what we can prove and what we can show.
Evidence of.
And the more right, the more that accumulates, um, that's the stuff that holds up in a court of law.
I know,
See what I'm
Brian.
saying? You know,
See, I stay in my lane. My
Mhm.
thing, my stick is audio. It used to be filming,
right,
but I still use my camera as for to document it. That way, I know exact date and the
Mhm.
exact second that it happens. Okay, that's the way I document. I don't have to write it in a book or
mm,
say what happened. I got it right there on film. Shows the date and time. It's just a black screen, but it's
right,
got the date, time, exactly when it happened.
right.
And but I just stay in my lane. I don't go talk about stuff that I can't prove. I want to back up everything I say. There's things that's happened out here that I have no proof in the world that it happened, but it happened,
Mhm.
and I'd love to talk about it, but I don't. Because I can't back it up, not at all.
Right.
So,
Let's see.
and and a lot of people do love hearing stories. They do. I'm not a storytelling person, and so I just try to tell exactly what happened, what I was doing at the time that it happened, and that's as far as it's going to go with it. A boring little reality
Mm,
story that happened, and
But let me stop you.
to me, that is a better thing because it's real. I don't consider myself a researcher whatsoever. Whatsoever do I call myself a researcher? And a lot of people know. I tell them that. Don't call me a
Mhm.
researcher.
Bud.
And so, I just want to stay in my lane. I'm just gonna continue doing my thing, recording audio when I get it, and go through all the debunking process of what other kind of animal it could possibly making this sound. And after 6 months to a year going through it, I put it out there for the people. I share it on out. Um, I could actually share it out the minute I get it, but I wouldn't be doing myself right by just doing that. Because people's going to come on there, give you the wows, the woos, and all that stuff, give you to swell your head up, and
Oh
you'll
yeah.
continue doing that stuff. I don't want that. I want it to be straight up, 100% reality of what I'm hearing and I'm
Hmm.
sharing to you, and you decide what you're hearing. And that's the way I like stuff. That's the
But
only
here's
way
where
I'm going to go
Yeah.
with stuff.
and here's where I disagree with you, Flat Rock. It's more selfish on my end. Let's put it that way. Stories, I can't prove. I've made claims. I've heard this. I've seen that. I smelled this.
Yeah,
I've done this. This that. I can't prove it to you. I can't
yeah,
sit there and do smell of vision on this camera. I can't do. I didn't have video back then, so hey, I can't do it. But here's where I'm disagreeing with you is some of your stories that you do not tell uh, could contain some information that would help somebody else, i.e., me, myself, Richard, Quay, people on the chat.
Yeah.
It may help us later on building up that data center in our own brain.
well,
You know what I mean?
you,
That
you
the
know, yeah.
possibilities are there. Is what
Well,
I'm getting at.
I've said this as well. I tell people around the campfire, tell my friends, but I do not put it out online for the masses to go through.
Right, right.
You and that's just the way I do things. And I think it's the right way to do things. That way, I'm not putting out there just stuff for to get the woos and the wows and the
Right.
great captures and stuff like that. I just want to put it
Yeah.
out there, show and just convince one family that comes in this blind like mine, like my whole family did, come in this damn thing blind and realize these damn things are real.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's no help for you out there, none.
Hmm.
And you just got to live with it or move.
You can't call the large animal removal service to come out there
That's
and get
right.
them either.
You cannot. And I called them and paid them to come out here, and they just took a couple pictures, seen what they
That
seen,
was
and then hauled ass.
that is the funniest story I've about ever heard in the Bigfoot world.
Yeah.
I tell
Well,
you,
that just shows you that's about how blind we were
how
to the
blind you.
subject. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
But
there's a lot of different types of researchers too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
consider
yeah.
myself one of the serious ones that I
mhm,
look at a lot of stuff. A lot of it, I would say 99% of it, I could debunk, or there's just not enough information to actually use it and stuff like that. But you got some researchers that are out there to get famous. They're out there to get
Yeah.
rich. They're out there to make a name for themselves, and they don't care if it's good or bad evidence. It's just evidence. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And then you got some that are on the entertainment side of it. You know what I mean? You got
mhm,
shows like Finding Bigfoot, Expedition Bigfoot. That's just entertainment. That's it. Always
yeah,
ends on a cliffhanger. It always because they want you to come back next week. It's about ratings and stuff like that. I've met those people. They're nice people, but you take it for what it is. It's
Yeah.
entertainment purposes. I don't think they're serious researchers. When they're not on the show, what are they doing when they're not on the show? See what I'm saying? They're planning the next show.
Yeah.
Very few of them, when they're not on the show, are actually in the woods doing what they were doing on the show. See what I'm saying? So I do this because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. I do not get paid for it or anything like that.
mhm,
And I take it serious. I take it serious, and it does bother me sometimes when somebody
Yeah.
starts putting the crap out there, because
Yeah.
like we always say, it muddies the water. And when you've got people out there
mhm,
muddying the water, nobody's going to take this thing serious, because they're going to
Yeah.
throw that in your face. Well, what about this? Yeah, I agree. That is bogus information. You know what I mean? But then they when they find it and say this is bogus, everything's bogus. Everything.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
I know what I do is just basically if I go out and I capture what I capture, and I bring it back and I share it. Now you can figure, I don't really do the clicks and the likes and the subscribes or whatever like that. It's just there. Um, it's you don't know. Somebody might be looking for that key piece out there in the ether, and you might have
Right.
it. One of you guys might have that key piece that I'm looking for. Who knows? And the other thing that I think about quite a bit too is I think about my own age, and I think about how much longer I'm going to be about, and how the next generation, are they going to start off fresh, or can I leave something behind that they might actually trip over by accident that will help them find the answer to this mystery? Because I personally don't think that I'm going to be the one to solve the mystery.
Nope.
Mhm.
I know I'm
But
not.
no, it's going to take a consortium of people working together trying to find the answer.
Yep.
And the way I look, like I said, I look at things like, okay, um, like our very first outing, it was the bizarrest thing. It wasn't Bigfoot related; it was a paranormal capture. Um, I shared it, I spun it up and everything, and I just said, "Hey, this is what I caught out in the open." But on the other hand, too, there's a lot of stuff that I've had that I haven't talked about yet. That if you've probably seen and have got to wonder, what exactly is that? Um, because that's how I just go get something when I can talk. Then I feel comfortable talking about something. I'll talk about it. But for the most part, um, that's just how I work. I'm not a Bigfoot researcher. I'm not a investigator. If you're an investigator, that does nothing for me because that you're behind. I want to be out in
Yep.
the front. I want to be
Hmm.
out in front, and I want to capture it when it's coming across. That's what I want. Now I get the research part of it, but um, and as an amateur animal behaviorist myself, there's good information and there's poor information. You take everything you thought about an animal that we know something about, the white-tailed deer, and all the stuff that you used to read in Outdoor Life and Field and Stream, and you come to find out over like the generational amount of material that came out in those outdoor magazines was absolute bullcrap. Because once you start figuring out that, hey, the deer are all activated by freaking daylight and their behavioral patterns change by the amount of daylight in the air or in the sky or available, however you want to say it, then you start realizing, hey, these animals have specific behavioral phases that they live through. And that's that documentation, which isn't out really in the public, um, although two guys have done their best to put it out there. That's the kind of information that we need to be looking for. Because I'm going to tell you, in my personal belief, there is something really wrong with the Bigfoot paradigm that we've been given. And I'm not saying that as in a woo cycle or this. I think some people put some stuff out there to draw attention to themselves more than the subject.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's my personal belief. And, I chase what I chase. If I capture something that doesn't fully belong, and it doesn't fully belong. No, I get no apologies for it.
I am Trackway. I am what I call a hunter. I'm a
Yeah.
hunter of information. I'm a hunter of good conversation. I'm a hunter of Bigfoot. And the reason I say it that way, you take Joe and Miss Pat, Angie, Bud, and just about everybody here has been a hunter at some time of deer, squirrel, rabbits, whatever. You start learning their habits. You learn where they're at, what times
Hmm.
of the year, yada yada. That's what I'm about. I'm a hunter about the information of Bigfoot, um, and listening to these stories and gathering. Now, am I a researcher? No, I'm not no dadgum reason. Yeah, so what? I used to work for BFR years ago. This has nothing to do with me now. Uh, I want to find out how to act when they're around, how to maybe get that 10-second video that Richard's talking about,
Hmm.
how to, why do is these certain smells. you see where I'm going. I'm trying to learn
Yep.
everything. I'm not trying to be the expert, but when I go out in the woods and I'm into a place that's got a sighting or is known to have Bigfoot, or even a place around here which is 10 minutes away, we found evidence of, that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy.
Yep.
I'm getting too old to sit around here and go to every place I hear of a Bigfoot story. I'm too old for that. I don't have the means to do so. That's the reason I do these kind of shows. I enjoy having the good conversations, and I hunt more and more information of what these creatures are about, what they do, and how they survive, how where they're at, all this kind of stuff. That's my thing. That's what I like doing.
Well, my attitude is if you're out there looking for this thing and you're trying to capture evidence
Mhm.
of this creature, you're a researcher. You're an investigator. And I'll tell you why, because as a hunter and came into this originally as a person that hunted, you're treating Bigfoot the same. I am going when I deer hunt, I'm looking for deer rubs. I'm looking for scrapes. I'm looking for sheds. I'm looking for any trace that says this is a good area to hunt a deer, to shoot a deer. If you're looking for Bigfoot or thing, you're not going to the Sahara Desert to look for it. You're going to areas that you have looked into or researched or got information on, or maybe possible sightings, but you're looking for things like food sources, water sources, coverage, different things like that that make you say this is a viable area that I want to research to see if there's anything out there. That's It's all research. If you're reading anything on it or looking into on it or anything like that, it's research. You know, I said that one day to Kerry Arnold. We were out there, and he made the comment too. I'm not a researcher. Yes, you are. If you're talking to people about their encounters and then going to those locations and going in the woods in those locations, then you did your investigative part with the person, and now you're going out there and doing a research part to find proof and evidence that that creature was there. Um, like I said, it all intertwines with each other. You know what I mean? Granted, a lot of people don't want labels. You know what I mean? I bounce. I mean, people say, "What are you?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a researcher, investigator. I'm whatever. You know what I mean? Um, I'm no different than a person going out bird watching. You know what I mean? They're out there for a specific reason. They're looking for a specific bird and they want to take photographs and whatever. I'm out there looking for a specific creature. You know what I mean? That I'm trying to find evidence for, and that would hopefully lead me to a face to face encounter.
Uh, Through all the audio I've collected, Richard, I've been able to come down with some patterns, okay, and other
Hmm.
things that's going on around here. The reason Miss Pat and Joe, Bud, and Angie come down here when they do is because of that 2 week window that for 5 straight years I was capturing, you know, great vocals during that 2 or 3 week period. Every year within that 2 or 3 week period, we was catching those vocals. And when they come down here during them weeks, they was catching some great evidence. Now, I got something set up for August that uh, it's took me a while to figure out. Uh, you know, the dates that they were coming in August. Uh,
Hmm.
they come in here and go toward them pear trees and pick all those pears off both of those trees over there in the month of August. I can't tell you exactly which week of August. It just depends on when those pears ripen in the month of August.
Mhm.
But every time those pears have ripened and have I mean, they're just full of pears, just literally full of pears. And they're gone
Yeah.
within 2 days. None on the ground. The only ones you see is all shriveled up on the trees. They don't touch those, and there's very few of those. But every other pear is gone. Now, last year we followed a pear leaf trail that went from the pear trees all the way into the wood line. You could see where something drug a limb and left those pear leaves all the way across the ground going
Yeah.
into that wood line over there where I was where I seen that eye shine that night. Anyway, I got it set up. Well, getting it set up to where I'm going to have a straight view on those pear trees. I'm setting up two thermals, different directions, and and I'll be watching them pear trees every day. And the minute or the morning that those pears are gone, I'll be able to go back to those thermals. Because I'm gonna have to wipe it every day until those pears are gone, so I have plenty of room on the card. But when those pears are gone, I'm gonna hopefully have a close up moving creature on thermal, high res thermals, and that's my goal to get is them creature on high res thermal, up close, moving, picking those damn pears off that tree. I mean, I know it's more than
Mhm.
one. It's probably a whole family group coming up there and stealing all those pears. But I'm gonna be set up on them this year, and hopefully I catch that footage. That's my goal. Uh, will it happen this year? I don't know. It's happened every other year, but I've never set up on it because I never could figure out the month and or whatever they were taking those pears. But now I do. Uh, so this year I'll be set up on those things, and hopefully I'm able to catch it. You know,
Yep.
And
Well,
that's
I've always said this. Uh,
it's
uh,
just a
Go
plan.
ahead.
You know what I'm saying? It's a plan. That's all I
and
got. It's a
that's
plan.
that's one of the big things when you're looking at behavior. You
Mm-hmm.
know, is asking yourself why is it here? Now, documenting that and whatnot because I got a particular area that I can't figure out why
Mm-hmm.
it's there,
Yep.
but it seems to reliably be there at a certain point and at a certain time. Why is
Mm-hmm.
it there? Is the question for me.
Yep. Yep.
Whereas you have the answer of, why being a food source. When you're looking at behavior in animals, you're the one that trumps everything. Number one is propagation of the species, then food,
Yeah, because
or excuse me, then
that's
water,
not
then food.
Yep.
behavioral. That's environmental.
In a
That's
way,
blood memories. To
That's
me, it's
yeah,
blood
environment.
memories that they do that every year. Every year. Yep.
Yeah, because that's
yeah. I mean,
environmental, not behavioral. The behavior is
no,
how
because
did they react to something. See what I'm
if
saying?
you take a look at the
Um,
other life cycle that I was talking about earlier, you only have like 3 days in the mating cycle of, like I said, the white-tailed deer. You really only have 3 days where a majority of the breeding occurs, but the behavior changes going up to that period, dependent upon which phase of their life cycle that they're in, and that's a very big thing. It just is like talking with the wildlife behavior. Well, what is that? Naturalist down there at Salt Fork. I asked him about minks and fisher cat sightings recently down there. And he goes, well, minks are always down by the stream, but now, based upon experience, I have reason to believe that they have a life cycle period where they come in. And you can call it environmental if you want, but during that period of their life cycle, they're chasing bird nests, and birds, and then they'll return back down on the streams where they catch, mollusks and whatever uh, animals are in the water. That's kind of how I look at it. Maybe the terminology is
yeah,
different
because
or whatnot, but that's how I look.
when I
Yeah,
talk
kind of like
about
learning when to
a
when to
viable
brown bed and
area,
all that stuff.
Go ahead,
about a
Rich.
viable area, um, it's environmental. It's I want to know what in this area is going to attract this animal. Like I said, food source coverage, water, whatever. Um, Now, if I enter that area and I have an encounter and how he behaves or what he does, um, that's where the behavioral comes in. Those are behaviors really hard to document because again, that's a long study on behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Behavior is a long study um, because you have to be able to document it all the time so you have a baseline of what the behavior is, what's causing the behavior, why does he act this way, why does he act that way, and that's extremely difficult in this field with something that is so elusive and I believe is constantly on the move. It's constantly mobile, um,
I agree
so
with
it's
that.
very difficult.
I look at it this way. Back in my old days of BFRO and all that stuff, there was always a saying about cemeteries, and I've
Hmm.
tried to put those theories to the test. I'm not saying that they don't work because we didn't have no success with it, but I have done interviews with people, and I will tell them, after the investigation was over, I would say something like, "Well, where's the cemetery?" And somebody would be there. Well, it's just right over there, 200 yards away. And I'm like, okay. And they're all mouth dropping. How'd you know there was a cemetery? Well, that was the assumption back then in them days. And I still think it's a viable assumption. It's just Bigfoot is just not confined to a
Well,
cemetery, but there is an
it's
attraction to
also
it for some reason.
well, it's also viable to say this, Icebox, that they were around when the mounds were built. It's
Yeah.
just, it's an assumption that they were.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, they could be around a cemetery, but I bet that there's great cover, there's water source, there's food source,
Hmm.
and all
Hmm.
that around that graveyard. That
Hmm.
could
Oh
be
yeah.
other viable reasons that they're there around that cemetery.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
we're running up on that 30 minutes. I'm gonna give you just a little bit more. We're gonna have to
All
get
right.
off here.
Okay.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
I
gotta
Track
just
go.
Way.
I
want to
gotta walk
say,
my dog.
yeah, I'm going to have to get
All
to
right,
bed
Rich.
here, but I just want to say that was interesting about the cemetery there, about that point out, because that ended up being that came up over uh, there where I saw the one through the thermal.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure why. I think it's some interesting stuff, I guess, in that material that came back. Made me ask about that. We did find that there was a uh, cemetery in the area. Same thing at Salt Fork too. That's another interesting point. That
Yeah.
below that ridge, there's that cemetery.
And there is the cemetery there. Yes, sir. All right. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. It's been a good show, great show. I've enjoyed it. But I will let everybody have one more time of what they want to say. Then we're going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to start with you, Richard.
No, great show. The guests were all fantastic. I love having conversations like this, and that's what makes
Hmm.
it great. Is you don't always have to agree, but we all respect each other. We all get along, and I think that's
Yeah.
a testament of what the Bigfoot community needs to do more of. You know, and stop being disrespectful and not accepting other people's ideas, or at least not listening to them and stuff like that. It was great to see everybody. Lenny and BF
Hmm.
Bud and Blue Eye, all the people in the chat room. I can't mention them all. Great to see them. Um, but it'll be a couple weeks before I have a show again, so people keeping eyes and ears out, for Sasquatch Unredacted, and I'll be back on whenever our next show is on Dirt Road Bigfoot. So
Good deal. Good deal. Trackway.
Just if you go, thanks for everybody for letting me just hop in. I just wanted to talk that a little bit about eye shine because thought maybe it might have some relevance as far as the eye disking that we've been studying.
Hmm.
And you know, go out there if you go out and about, multiple cameras, run them in parallel, have more than one camera at running at all times, have more than one audio source, and if you're out in a group, get everybody to wear a damn microphone, or else you're going to be
That's
sitting there
right.
scratching your head.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Flat Rock.
Hey, they said it all, Icebox. I can't add no more to that, Bubba.
Hey, I understand. All right. No, I want to thank Trackway, Richard, Flat Rock, and of course my bud, Old Bear for coming on tonight. And mostly, I will be honest with you, I really thank the chat tonight. They've been great. They've had good questions and had good stuff. And we'll try to do this again. I will try to do an interview here in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to say who it is. And guys, I am working on something that I want to try to do. I don't know how well y'all will like it. I'm just going to give it a shot and see how it turns out. Hopefully, it'll be entertaining to you guys. It may come up next week, but I'm going to try to do an interview itself here in the next couple of weeks, and we may have another discussion after that. So, y'all just keep hanging out with us, and we'll have some more fun on this show.
Hey,
But
can I
anyway,
throw a plug out real quick?
Absolutely, you sure can.
Tomorrow night, hop on over and take a look because you're going to see something new that you're probably not aware is out there and available. Okay,
You
that's
talking,
all I want to
you talking
say.
about you
On
talking about
whose
on your
channel?
show?
Yeah.
On your show track?
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
Well,
A
hang on
lot of.
before we do this. Let me look this up real quick. Um, it won't take me too long. All right. All right. In case y'all don't know, and I haven't had a chance to put Trackways information up here. I'm Mr. Negative. You need to behave, bud. Oh, and one more thing before I get out of here too. But for right now, finding the Trackway. You need to look it up on YouTube. You'll see it, and it's just like it says, finding the Trackway. You'll have a capital F, and D is common, but Trackway is also capitalized. He's got a good show. He comes on what, Monday nights, ain't you, Trackway?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said,
So he,
this is more about the equipment that you're going to see that you guys are going to be interested in. That's available
oh,
out there. And I'm not so worried about getting views and all that. That's not my thing. I run a small show and I like it small, but I really want you guys to see something that's out there.
I
let's
sure
put,
hope it's what I'm thinking. Goodness gracious, I hope it's what I'm thinking.
all right, one more thing. Like I said, finding Trackway. I've watched him here lately, and you'll see what it takes sometimes to get this information just by watching Trackway show because it's not always something that you find. You know what I mean? But if you ain't gonna find nothing if you don't get out there. All right,
Sometimes the smallest things are the biggest things.
that's right. One more thing, Joe. What is this deal about Joe being a movie star? Somebody tell me about it. I need to know.
I'll let him come on and tell you.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to get. I'm pulling teeth with Joe. Yeah, but I don't see nobody saying nothing. I need to know
He's
about Joe.
hiding from it. He's hiding from
That's why he put in there. When you're a movie star, you don't have to research. Uh
it.
huh. Didn't think I caught that. Maybe we'll catch it on the next show. Joe, come on, see us sometime, or somebody tell me what's going on there, and I got to pick a Joe. I always got to have something not against Joe, but something I can pick at him with. So
Joe's a
anyway,
star. He's a
he's
star.
hey, Joe's a good
Hey,
guy. I really like
He's a
Joe.
very good guy. I'm gonna go spend at least a week with him in September.
Yeah,
I'm already feeling. Oh
getting
my
at you
goodness.
about it.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
getting
just
in.
saying that if we keep going, we're gonna do 6 hours.
Nope,
I
I'm
got to go
done.
to bed.
I'm done. I am done. I am done. All right. Thanks everybody for coming on tonight. And y'all come back with us again here in the next couple of weeks. And like I said, Richard's got one coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you don't know his channel, he puts it real quick. Uh, duh, 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 duh,
Sas-
duh, duh,
Sasquatch
duh.
unredacted.
There we go. Sasquatch Unredacted. There you go. He has not done a whole lot on his, he still does it on his Bigfoot channel. So I'm going to post that real quick. Trackway, if I had yours
Yeah.
listed, I will have it listed up for the next time. Uh, so, anyways, and don't forget, where's that at? Where is it at? There we go. There's my other buddy right there, old Bear Did a Bigfoot. Y'all catch him when he comes on too. And also, I always try to go to the Facebook page of Flat Rock Woodburgers. That's where you hear a lot of his recordings. And guys, if you want to come on the show or have a comment or anything like that, I do have an email, dirtroadbigfoot@gmail.com. Y'all come just drop your thoughts, whatever, if you want to come on the show. So, anyways, that is it. I am fixing to get out of here. Let me get that off. All right. All right. That is it. Joe thinks he's a movie star. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna dig. I'm gonna dig, baby. All right, guys. We're out of here. Thank y'all for coming with us tonight. Richard, as always, thank you, buddy. I really do appreciate it. Flat Rock, I will talk to you later sometime. Y'all have a good one. Thank you, Bill, for coming on. And thank you, Bear, for also, and thank you to the chat. Y'all have a good night, safe week, and we'll see y'all next time. Y'all take care.
Later, everybody.